Been a while since I've done this, so just bear with me 1 second. With me 1 second. With me 1 second. Alright, cool. I think we should be good to go. I'm just going to double check very quickly on my phone to see what it sounds like. But it should be okay. What's the Blue Skies channel called? There it is. Alright, I'm just gonna get Twitch chat up on my second monitor so I can check the chat. The text box is a little bit small and I'm too lazy to fix it. Shouldn't take very long. As you can tell, I'm wonderful at using Twitch. Okay. Wonderful at using Twitch. Okay. Wonderful at using Twitch. Alright, hello. Right, I think we're good to start. God, it's been such a long time since I've done this. Hopefully I can remember my train of thought. Let me just close the window, because I think my microphone could pick up the traffic outside. Cool. Just unplugged my headset, very nice. Alright, cool. I think we're good to start. We have 6 people in the chat right now. Huh. Normally the audience is a little bit bigger, but that's fine. We can make do. Let me just add the Twitch link in the Discord notification. Alright. So, without further ado, let's jump into the game. I think we got up to the start of Act 3 last time, so that's where I'm going to start from. Yeah, so let's begin. So I want to apologise for the huge delay in getting this done. Truthfully, I really have fallen out of the DLC. After we got Blue Skies published, it was kind of like a, okay, we're done now kind of thing. So, I know I started the stream, but I've been procrastinating it like mad. So I apologise for the 6-week delay. But we're here now. That's the important part. Hello, Sand Sparrow. Okay, so for those of you who are new here, we are doing Sayori's route, and that's not where I wanted to start from. Is that the place? Yes, okay. So we started at the Act of Act 3, and we're just going to go through it, and I'm going to comment on things. There is quite a lot to get through, so I don't know if I'm going to go into as much detail as last time. I just want to make sure, can everyone hear me okay? You can hear the game audio fine, it's not too loud, not too quiet. Hopefully it's okay, we don't need to adjust anything. If it's okay, then awesome. If not, now's the time to let me know. Let me boost the microphone just a little bit. Okay. Is that okay? We can all hear me fine? All good. Okay, cool. So, we're going to jump into it for the 4th time, as I've said now. God. Alright, so the start of Act 3 for Sayori feels like a long time ago now for me, because I wrote it God. 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Something like that. I think... Yeah... I'm just trying to get my mind back into the DDLC mode, because I've been out of it since we released the mod. So Act 3 basically just starts with MC, just thinking about, you know, he's with Sayori now, and that kind of, wow, I can't believe she likes me mentality. It's nothing too crazy. The kind of date scenes that we're going to get to see here, kind of, they were really fun to write, because they, you know, Sayori as a character, there was enough character of her in the base game, to be able to, get a hold of her character, and expanding on that in the context of like her dating the MC is really fun to kind of get that playful banter into what they're like as a couple. What's up, Xenoblade here? How you doing? So they go on a date in winter. They go to a cafe, I think. God, my ability to comment on this has just tanked, but I'll do my best. I think this is an example of me wanting to show that Sayori isn't as dumb as everyone thinks she is. Because I know a lot of people think that Sayori is not particularly bright. I kind of disagree with that. I think she is smart in her own way. She just is very airheaded and very clumsy. But beneath all that, she does, you know, have a working brain. So this is an example where she comes up with, on the spot, some very vivid imagery for a magical winter wonderland that they're going to. And MC is just like, yeah, fair enough. I don't know where the stupid Ice Queen thing came from. Like, a lot of this was just kind of... I kind of wrote this when I was very much more into the character. Looking back, I think it's a little bit cringy. But I'm just a very, very harsh critic of my own work, so don't take too much of what I say. Just take it with a pinch of salt. There should have been a snow effect here, but there isn't. That might have been fixed in patch 1.5, the latest one. I'm using 1.3 because I'm lazy. And it's also because the Blue Skies downloads are like 700 megabytes. And because I'm in the UK, the speed is not as good for me. Also, Moobot, no need to shout. Don't worry about that warning. Moobot is just something that we installed. It might be a bit dumb, so just ignore it. So this sprite, we wanted to give the girls sprites for their winter clothes, because obviously the game takes place over a year, 6 months, whatever. So it was important that the clothes reflected that, especially for Sayori and Natsuki, because they have, you know, in Sayori's case she wears like a t-shirt and shorts, in Natsuki's case she wears like a dress, so that they need winter sprites to make sure that they're not cold. So it was really fun. I think Curie had a lot of fun coming up with sprite ideas. I'm a really big fan of long coats, so Sayori has good taste. And this bit here where she kind of hangs out with Natsuki for Secret Santa Day, just kind of goes to show that behind the scenes, you know, the girls have their own lives, and she's spending time with Natsuki, and Natsuki's enjoying her company. The idea behind that was to kind of make you think that even though the MC is spending time with Yuri on Secret Santa Day, and you know he's dating Sayori, the girls still have their own social interactions and stuff outside of the main character, and that was the reason why. Part of the reason why Secret Santa was suggested was because that way girls get to do that. So that's cool. Yeah, that was a Frozen reference. I don't know why I put it in there. A lot of this stuff is just me thinking, well, why the fuck did I write that? But whatever, people didn't say it was cringe, so maybe I got away with it. Or maybe they did think it was cringe. I've not seen all the YouTube playthroughs. Yo, Swampert, I put Blue Skies in the Reddit post for best soundtrack. Oh, you're the guy that I just commented on? The post? What a small world. Don't worry about it, mate, it's fine. I was joking anyway. So a lot of the backgrounds in Blue Skies are new, as you can probably tell. Some of them are from the base game, some of them are from, we had Serki draw herself. This one is from a website called Uncle Mugen, I believe. If you're looking to make DDLC mods and you're looking for backgrounds, I would highly recommend Uncle Mugen. You can get some good backgrounds there. I think we overdid it a little bit with the cinnamon motif for everything. Like, we get it, you know, in the community series, this cinnamon bun. I think we overdid it a little bit looking back. That was one of my friends, Jardos. He wrote a review of the roots of Blue Skies, and he mentioned that with Sayori's root, that was maybe a little bit too much focus on cinnamon, which in hindsight I could definitely agree with that. But that's how we learn as writers. We learn from our mistakes. And I did enjoy kind of writing the unease, well, not the unease, but the inexperience that these two would have dating each other. They don't really know how to act, and you know, those first gestures that the MC makes to hold her hands, it's kind of something that both of them are very new to, and it was kind of fun to experiment with that newness, because I'm sure people can agree that your first relationship, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking knowing what to do. And, you know, the classic MC teasing, because she gets flustered easily. I think a really important thing that I tried to do with Sayori's root was kind of make sure that the rate in which they fall in love kind of felt natural. It wasn't. I've seen some mods, some fanfiction where the MC meets, like, Yuri, for example, and then a week later they've expressed their love and they're dating. I wanted to make it a little bit slower because, you know, realism is the whole part of this mod, and I know they're childhood friends, so I could accelerate the pace a little bit. If you look at the other two routes, again, not too many spoilers because I know that this is just the Sayori route, but the time it takes for MC to confess his feelings, it happens the quickest in Sayori's route, and the longest in Natsuki's, which I think reflects the fact that Natsuki is very prickly, whereas with Sayori, she's very, the MC is very at ease with her, so that's why he confesses quickly, not quicker. And that kind of variety is what we wanted to put in the mod. Realism is your favourite part of the mod? Good, it's good to hear, because that was the #1 priority. And a lot of the banter between the two isn't just MC teasing Sayori, it's her doing it back to him. And in the base game, it was mostly just MC teasing her, which some people interpreted as him being a bit of a dickhead, especially when you play the Rain Clouds mod. You kind of see it from a different light. Whereas here, I wanted it to be a more healthy relationship where they're both doing it to each other. And I feel like those are the best kind of relationships where you can roast each other, you know. Yo, what's up, Crash Punk? How was your Dota game, bro? Did you win? Are you winning, son? They're just talking about their first kiss and how Sayori was kind of shitting herself. Even though it was her idea, which I think is... I'm not trying to, you know, suck my own dick or anything, but I feel like that is a very Sayori thing to do, in that she would be all for it, but then when it actually comes to doing it, it will backfire on her slightly because she is just as nervous as the MC. I think we've all, well, maybe not all of us, but the nervousness of a first kiss, you kind of... when the MC's, you know, joking around saying that Sayori asked Monica how to kiss someone, you know. Come on, Sayori, that's not how you learn. Alright, blah blah blah. So, this is just generic. I mean, there are first kiss. Yes, thank you, Nick. There are scenes where it's just like wholesome, fluffy moments. You can't be nervous on your first kiss if you've never had one. Damn, that is very true. You got me there. Will there be dev commentary for the other routes as well, or just series route? Good question. I don't know. Tiffany, the guy who wrote the latter half of Natsuki's route, was talking to me in DMs. He did express a interest in doing Natsuki's route, but that was like 3 weeks ago, and I think he's been very busy with work. So Natsuki is a very much a possibility. I would like to do one for Natsuki. Well, he would like to do one for Natsuki. I wouldn't be doing it. Yuri is a little bit trickier because I co-wrote Yuri's route with Curie, and I think she's very busy at the moment with university. So if we did do a Yuri route, then I would have to do it alone, and these streams take a lot out of me, because if you've seen the other parts, they're like 3 hours long, and sitting down for 3 hours talking about a mod that I don't really like anymore, it's kind of taxing. I'm doing this because I started it and I want to finish it, but we'll see. If the videos have been very well received so far, so there's a lot of positive feedback. So I maybe we'll see. That's what I'll say. Yuri is a maybe. Natsuki is much more likely. It would just depend on when Tiffany is free. I'd have to speak to him about that. But anyway, as I was saying, there are a couple of like wholesome Reddit moments. No, like wholesome, fluffy, romantic moments like this, which I think those are fine. But my issue, I'm not sure if any other writers have this problem when it comes to this thing, but I feel as though when you've written one, you've written them all. Like, you really have to change up what they do in the scenes, because if they're just cuddling and stuff, then it gets boring very, very quickly. So that's why there aren't as many in Blue Skies compared to other mods. Because there's only so much personal experience that you can draw on before it starts to become like, okay, they cuddle and they play Mario Kart, or you need to kind of change things up a little bit. Also, Dev Commentary Part 3. I think Crash Punk changed that. If you did, thank you. Save me a little bit of time. Title, because it was Act 2 before. Favourite part was talking about when you saw a guy dressed as Michael Myers looking at anime titties. Yeah, I was with Crash Punk. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Crash Punk. I was with Crash Punk at Comic Con last year, and that's when we saw that Myers at the anime titty section. And that was, I remember we were we were laughing at that for a good while. Michael Myers is a massive weeb. He just can't express his love in a healthy way. Alright, so this part is funny to me, not because of the dialogue. I'm not that much of a narcissist, but because, so Sayori says that she wants a hamster, right? And then MC asks her what she'd name it, and she says Stuart, because after Stuart Little, even though he's a hamster, he's a mouse, not a hamster. But apparently someone on the DDMC, the Doki Doki Literature Club Discord, there's an admin called Stuart98, and apparently people were calling him a hamster because they'd played this mod, and they got to this part where she wants a hamster named after Stuart, and I was really confused because Stuart pinged me saying like, "You're the reason why everyone's calling me a hamster," and I was like, "The fuck?" But then he explained it and it all makes sense, and I thought that was kind of funny because hamsters are funny. They're not. Anyway, if you were going to get a hamster, you need to get 4 of them, and one of them needs to be really, really fat. And those of you who know the reference know it, and I'm proud of you. Anyway. Okay, so here we have a return to the tickle fight. You might notice that throughout this route, there's a lot of moments where things get a little bit heavy. And I don't mean that big dude from Team Fortress 2. That's because I wanted to build up the sexual tension and the kind of those feelings rather than just make it very impulsive, which I think also works because teenagers are a horny bunch, so that could also work. But just tickling each other, blah blah blah. This is a callback. Hamsters do taste nicer. Alright, Bear Grylls. I ain't one to judge. Yes, they're by themselves, home alone on the couch, they're kissing, blah blah blah. And when people are playing this mod, they're like, oh, is this gonna be the sex scene? And I'm like, nah, not yet. That happens later. But there are there's quite a few instances where you'd think it's gonna happen and it doesn't happen. Yeah, they're just hormones. That's it. That's the first day. It's a nice wholesome day where they're just having a nice date, doing coupley things. I think this is the only one that MC doesn't fuck up. As you'll see later in the room. Oh, it's Emmy. Alright, so to be honest, when I was writing Emmy's dialogue, it had been a long time since I'd last played Katawa Shoujo. So I wasn't really sure if I got a personality right. I really hope I did, and the KS fans haven't complained about it, so I think it's okay. But Emmy was my favourite when I first played the game. Now it's Lily, but Emmy will always be a very good girl. Played it because of me? Wow. Yo, 4 Leaf Studios, you hearing that? You should pay me for your advertisement to play a free game. It's a tough world. But yeah, she was very curious to see if MC and Sayori were together, because she was the one who was campaigning for MC to ask her out back in December. It wasn't November. Something like that. Yeah. Sakurai. Alright, so there's a Smash Bros reference coming up, and it's actually quite subtle. Some people got it, some people didn't. Sakurai saying that he used to teach at a school that had January exams, so which is why they didn't enjoy their Christmas break as much, is partially a reference to I had January exams in year 13 or 13th grade or whatever the US equivalent is, and having to revise over the Christmas period was a bit of a dampener on things. Does Sakurai do a Bowser downbeat? Yeah, he does. There's like 2 frames where he does it. You have to be really quick. So if you want to like slow the stream down, do it. When Sakurai asks if anyone got anything cool for Christmas, Emmy's mum buying her running sneakers, that's obviously Katawa Shoujo. So Sakurai being given a plant, I'm sure those of you that play Smash Bros know what the reference is. I'm not going to explain it. But I tried to make it subtle enough that, because people do give plants for gifts, so it wasn't a very in-your-face reference, but it was subtle enough where people were like, Sakurai? A plant? Huh. Okay, so now the club room decided to eat inside for lunchtime. I really like Sakurai. He reminds me of a teacher who I used to have. Yeah, so Sakurai is a mixture of a lot of people. He is loosely based on the teacher from Katawa Shoujo, Mutao, not Mewtwo, the Pokemon, but the character. Kind of like laid back, lax attitude. But his sense of humour is very much inspired by a couple of teachers that I used to have. And he's also inspired by someone else from a book that I read, but I can't remember. It's really going to bother me. I'm trying to remember. Mixing voice with this plant, yeah, nice meme. Yeah, he out there with those deep quotes. Enzo, it's surprising to see you here, but alright. Yuri, 5 hearts. I agree with you, Emily. That is definitely a Yuri 5 hearts moment right there. Damn, this Play With Us remix, kind of fire. I wonder who composed it. Monica! Yeah, thanks Enzo. Thanks for the 1 million views. I appreciate all the bots. Okay, so this is a... For those of you who... Obviously everyone knows that we don't have a Monica route. Duh. This is a slight nod to what Monica's life is like, in that she's very stressed out because her parents and her teachers are talking to her about university applications. She was raised to be the model student, so it's kind of a given that she'd be very, very stressed with all the pressure mounting for her. I skipped something by accident. Yeah, it's stressful is what she says. I think something, looking back, it might have been nice to add a couple of poem sharing sessions because people were like, it's a literature club. But generally my counter to that is, even in the base game, like 3 days is a little bit much. 4 days? 3 days? Can't remember. Yeah, 4 days. I think maybe it would have been nice to add maybe 1 or 2 poem session days in, because the way it is now, it's generally skipped. I don't know. Yeah, there are poems tonight, blah blah blah. Using the pen that Yuri got for Christmas, which puts a nice little smile on Yuri's face. Hello there, what's up? Aku. Aku? Like the mask in Crash Bandicoot? Or was it Aku? No, it's fine, Emily. 27 is quite a lot. I don't expect to get anything more than like 10 or 15. So I'm perfectly content with this number of people. So this is where things start to get a little bit tricky, because Yuri starts to want to hang out with us. Because obviously she's very lonely and she spent a lot of time with the MC over Christmas. And Yuri is someone who gets attached very easily. I'm not going to say clingy. Actually, no, I guess she is kind of clingy in a way. Anyway, she gets attached very quickly. And this causes problems in the Sayori route. And this wasn't written to paint Yuri as an antagonist, because she's not. It just goes to show that relationships can be messy, and feelings get in the way, and it can be really easy to make someone jealous without realising it. And here, Sayori is surprised that Yuri's with us, and that face is gone, just like that. And I was really... Normally when it came to coding these scenes, it wasn't too much of a thought process, it was quite simple. But moments like that, where her face changes very quickly, was deliberately put in to reflect that, like, she lets that mask slip for just a second, and then whoop, it's back on. I'm not sure people noticed that. They probably did, but I just want to confirm that that was a deliberate process. And the thing about her homeroom teacher wanting to talk to her is basically a reference. Not really a reference, but it's just showing that she wasn't in school much and she didn't do her homework because of depression. And that's kind of what it's alluding to. That's not very clear at all, so don't feel bad if you didn't catch that. But that was the process behind it now. I hate it when mods make you the antagonist. I mean, off the top of my head, the only mod that does that is Exit Music, and that mod has kind of been denounced for its really bad characterization. So, are there any other mods where she's the antagonist? It's mostly Monica, to be honest, who's the bad guy, or a bad girl. But Yuri, Sayori was my favourite when I first played the game, and I converted to Yuriism when I was writing Haru with Kyuri. You're welcome. Oh, thanks, Chris. Summer Hope, I've never played it, so I can't comment. I think that's a Natsuki mod, which I generally do not play because I do not like Natsuki. Suki, sorry, Suki. So this dialogue here kind of, again, no spoilers for Yuri's route, but it kind of points to the issues that she has on her route. Because one of the things that we really wanted to do was kind of point to the other issues that girls are having on their route, so that it feels a lot more interconnected. As in, Yuri's issues are still a thing, even when you're not on her route. So she needs a hug. Well, it's funny you mention that, Emily, because I think the MC does hug her. I think. I swear he hugs her. Does he not? Oh, maybe he doesn't then. But she's just opening up to him, and MC being the brownie maker. That is a slight spoiler. Well, I'm sure most people here have already played Yuri's route, but for those that haven't, try to not remember what brownie maker just says. This is where the MC kind of relates to Yuri about the whole loneliness thing. So it's nice that they're able to kind of relate on that level. He does hug her. Yes, I knew it. He hugs her. And she wasn't expecting it. Because it's just what Yuri's like. And she has a book and they're reading it. Yeah. I kind of wish that I changed the book looking back, because I think it is a bit normie. I'm sure I could have picked a more exciting horror book, but at the time I wasn't writing Yuri's route, so I just thought, yeah, it will do. It will do. Get it? It will do, because yeah. Right, yeah. Moving on. So he like agrees to walk home with Yuri and read one of her books. So you can start to see where the seeds of what's the word? Discord have been sown. This club isn't really the epitome of happiness. That kind of speaks for itself. I think there were plans here to actually show the poem that Sayori and MC wrote, but we just never got around to it in the end. There were a lot of things that we didn't get around to doing. And this kind of just goes to show that, you know, Sayori is intelligent in her own way, in how she writes her poems. Not on the same level as Yuri, of course, but I'd say in a different way. She's, in her own little world. Oh. So she does say why she had to speak to her homeroom teacher. Oops. But yeah, finding it difficult to... motivation to work on homework was not a personal experience for me, but one of my friends. I remember he wouldn't be able to do homework because he just wasn't mentally feeling it, and that's another little personal anecdote that made it into the mod. Again, MC really isn't picking up on Sayori's jealousy. And I know a lot of people gave the MC flack for being like really dumb or really dense or really stupid, but I just want to like point out that it's easy for us, or me anyway, as an adult, a fully grown adult, to kind of look back and judge how dumb a teenager in love for the first time can be. Because we have to bear in mind that the MC hasn't really been socializing much, and he's new to, you know, dealing with girls, and jealousy is something that's very new to him. And from his perspective, he's just trying to help Yuri out. And he's not trying to hurt Sayori specifically. It's just an unintended side effect that he didn't realise. So him saying that he can't tell Sayori why Yuri wants to walk with him, he's not aware of the fact of how suggestive that sounds. From his perspective, it's just he wants to keep Yuri secret, you know, that she's lonely, private, because he feels like that's something that she's like ashamed of or wants to keep to herself. So that's, a lot of people have been ragging on the MC, this MC, saying he's really dumb and he's really stupid and he makes dumb choices. Yes, he does, but I want to point out that that's how teenagers are. You know, I'm sure we've all made really dumb choices when we're in love, or just around girls in general. To him saying, you know, I enjoy spending time with Yuri, isn't him trying to hurt Sayori, it's just, you know, something that he doesn't think about. And okay, this bit here where Sayori says you could always ask Yuri to come over, she's probably better company than I am anyway. Yeah, maybe a little bit too dense, but you know, at the same time, we have to have this underlying tension that isn't just always addressed and resolved straight away, because otherwise there wouldn't be any tension. Okay, so next day they're just, you know, standard water school. And Sayori isn't very subtle in trying to figure out the MC's feelings for Yuri. He tries to, like, he doesn't jump in saying, yeah, Yuri. You know, he says that, you know, not including you, none of them, you know, like, they're all the same. And she really pushes him. So, from his perspective, he probably thinks, shit, she really wants an answer. That's why he eventually says Yuri. And she's trying to appear nonchalant, but it's not really working. And he doesn't understand why she's a bit unhappy. We were going to add a lot more actual history stuff in these lessons, but people complained saying they didn't want to have a history lesson, so we cut it out. So for history fans out there, blame the playtesters, bro. Well, I can see why people wouldn't want a history lesson, so it's fair enough. I'm not blaming them. Blah blah blah. It's easy to say that MC is dumb when you have the perspective of four sides of player. Yeah, that summarizes it. Sakurai is kind of weird in my opinion. Look at him. How could you be so mean to poor Sakurai? But yeah, this part where he gives MC his grades, it just kind of, you know, builds up the setting as an actual school rather than just this is a convenient backdrop for a spooky visual novel to take place. Sakurai is very wise and he knows, so he kind of gives MC advice in saying that be careful not to make the other girls jealous. I think that when I first wrote this, when it was edited by Curie, she mentioned that the advice should be more subtle and less direct. Because I think at one point Sakurai said something that was very, very explicit. Not explicit as in like, you know, the N-word or anything, but like, he says something that's very direct. So she was like, a teacher wouldn't say that, so try and make it a joke or like a humorous kind of bit of advice that actually rings true. and that kind of gets the little cogs in the MC's brain ringing. Wow, the stream does not like the phone. Jesus, that looks awful. Yeah, sorry, Chris. Your phone kind of got massacred on stream. I don't know if you saw it, but I made a Reddit poll a couple weeks ago asking which mod had the best MC, and Blue Skies won. It even beat Fruits by 2 votes. I mean, I don't want to say obviously because that's very, very arrogant, but I think the Fruits MC and the Blue Skies MC are very, very different MCs. I have to go. Okay, see you later, Emily. Fruits MC is the kind of suspension of disbelief, badass, edgy, secret agent MC, which in my opinion doesn't fit DDLC at all. Whereas the Blue Skies MC is a lot more realistic and a lot more human. So I'm glad that people like him, because I know a lot of people don't. So, and here it kind of shows how direct and not very subtle MC's approach is, where he just asks her, "Hey, are you jealous of Yuri?" Sayori's trying to like hide it, but we know that Sayori's not very good at hiding things. And the MC just kind of realises that, you know, the way he talked about Yuri was a little bit suggestive, so he apologises for it. And this kind of miscommunication happens a lot in relationships. And I wanted to kind of capture that feeling of it's really important that people communicate, because that's like the biggest part of series where it is communication. Well, I guess not even just series, but I think all the routes really, communication is a big part of it. So, and this just kind of goes to show how MC does not realise when a girl likes him, which I'm sure some of us can relate to that. Yeah, you gotta let the girls know what's going on, but that becomes a big problem when it comes to Sayori's suppression later on in the route, because you can't just tell Yuri that. And this is where Sayori doubts herself, asking, you know, what can Yuri give the MC that she can't? And he tries to reassure her, and that kind of reassurance is really important, because, you know, when you're depressed, you kind of have this big, dominating negative voice in your head that tells you that, you know, you're all these things, you know, you're not worth anything. So it's really important to be just as powerful as that voice in a positive light and counteracting everything that it says. People want an MC who's intelligent and super alert to everything, which just isn't realistic. People forget how naive everyone is at a younger age. That's very true. And also, I think that that'll be kind of boring to read if you have someone who's just like, could you imagine if in Sayori's route, right, there was no conflict? It was just, yeah, Yuri's kind of lonely, she wants to hang out with me, that's the only reason why. And then later on down the line, when Yuri's like, I don't know. I didn't see the link myself because it was deleted straight away. But the point is, no conflict equals no interesting story. I agree with that completely. Humans tend to only perceive about 10% of their surroundings and then promptly forget. For teenagers, it's more like 5%. Yeah. People are dumb, me included. We all make really stupid decisions, especially when it comes to love. So I think the fact that RMC is a bit of an idiot is completely warranted. So this is when MC suggests therapy to Sayori, and therapy becomes a big part of this route, namely because it's difficult. I mean, I haven't gone to therapy myself, so I can only imagine how difficult it is, but I can imagine it's not an easy thing to start, especially in Sayori's case where she's had tried therapy before, and it didn't work. So that's why she's she doesn't want to do it again, because when she tried it before last time when she was much younger, it was a lot scarier. She didn't know what was going on, the tests, the drugs, that kind of thing. She didn't know what was going on, so that's why she's very unwilling to try it. And the realistic part is that she says, how do you know that it'll be fine? And MC says, I don't. You don't know that it's going to be fine. But that going into the unknown and trying to kind of try something new, try therapy again. Well, not new, but trying therapy again is kind of the biggest part about Sayori, is not fixing her depression, because it's never about fixing someone, because fixing implies they're broken, and I'm not really a fan of that word, but just trying to help them recover in their own terms, rather than trying to magically fix their problems. And I think this scene was written in the same vein of the base game, where when the MC says, I love you, you expect, or I think more, perhaps the people who are less experienced with depression would think that would make her happy. But she wasn't happy. You know, she said, this moment is meant to feel really good, but it doesn't. That kind of things don't get better just because someone says I love you or we'll go to therapy together. I kind of wanted to include that sense of it's still going to be difficult. And a lot of people give the MC like smack for being stupid, but no one praises him for the stuff that he says here, where it's like, I'm never going to give up on you. Because like there's some really stupid things that you can say to people that have depression, like, oh, it's all in your head, or have you tried going for a walk? You know, like, give him some credit, guys. Not you guys in particular, the guys watching the stream. It's more the people in the Discord and Reddit saying, Blue Sky's MC is really dumb, lol. It's like, yeah, but he's also kind of smart. Just don't feel sad, lol. Exactly. Exactly. So this choice here, let me save. Let's save. I can't save the game here. Okay. Why can't I save the game here? That's really weird. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so it's kind of obvious, at least I think it's obvious, which one leads to the good ending, which one doesn't. So just a quick, interesting note is that there was a choice in Act 2 where you can choose to tell your mother about your feelings. If you choose not to tell her, you will not have the choice here at all. This will not happen. You will just say to Sayori, let me know how it goes. And later on, after the nightmare scene, then you get the choice to join her at therapy or say that she needs to stick it out. If you choose to join her at therapy, you will be routed back onto the good ending. If you refuse to join her, then she will, you'll get the bad ending. If you chose to talk to your mum, you will get this choice here. And if you choose this is something she has to face herself, you do get a chance to redeem yourself with that later choice. If you choose to join her at therapy now, that's it, good ending. Doesn't matter what you choose from now on. Looking back, I would have liked to perhaps add a few more choices, because I think, you know, compared to Natsuki's route, which is a fucking Mensa tree of just fustercluck choices, Sayori's route is very, very easy. Although I do like the variety we have between the routes. So we're going to do the good ending first, so the people that don't want to cry can enjoy the stream, and then we'll do the bad ending afterwards. I don't think we'll be able to do both in one stream, but I'll do my best. Probably do it in... There'll probably be one extra. I couldn't even tell you what happens in Nat's routes. Neither could I. I have no idea. I'm a fucking director. Although I do understand why people would choose to let her go alone, because there is a fine line between helping someone and kind of being a crutch for them. But yeah. Yeah, so depression, you know, it's something that is difficult to understand. I still don't get it myself. I did like Rain Clouds as a mod, but I think it was a little bit too over the top with the sadness. Like it was kind of every day is a horrible dark day. That's not how it works. You have some days where things are okay, and you have other days where things are not so okay. I think the common perception is that when you have depression every day, it's like how Rain Clouds did it, but it's not quite how it works. So this bit here where the MC makes her breakfast and comes to her early in the morning to give her food, and she's kind of not happy. It's not that she's not happy, it's just that she's kind of irritable because she's been woken up really, well not really early, but 11 o'clock if you have depression and your sleep cycles are kind of skewed, it can be very difficult to wake up before like late in the afternoon. So the fact that she's not in a good mood shows that it doesn't matter if you're doing nice things for your partner. Sometimes the depression will just be there and there's nothing that you can do to kind of change that. But Sayori does blame herself in that she hates how, you know, her boyfriend is being really thoughtful and making her breakfast and she can't even say thank you. So she's kind of self-aware that she hates how her depression makes her feel. But the MC is as understanding as he can be, saying, you know, like, I understand that it's difficult for you to wake up and it is kind of my fault for coming this early. And having a lazy day, depression or not, sometimes lazy days are the best days. Where you just, you know, chill out, watching a movie or playing games on the sofa. It is nice. And in classic MC fashion, or maybe Yuri fashion, he kind of fucks it up. That looks awful on stream. Why? How does that look so bad? It must clash with the design somehow, I don't know. Again, Sayori's face drops, but MC misses it. She hides it. So MC's reasoning is that because he's hanging out with Sayori as well as Yuri, he's not spending time with just Yuri, so it's okay. Obviously, if Sayori is jealous of Yuri, that doesn't really fix anything because he still invited a girl that she is jealous of to hang out with him. So I can see where both of them are coming from with this. And Yuri is at least, you know, socially able to realise that, you know, she doesn't want to interrupt anything. But MC's like, nah, it's fine, don't worry about it, bro. And here they just watch it, it's really nothing special. I'm trying to skip over like kind of not so important bits because I'm trying to keep these streams down in length. I don't want to have like hours and hours and hours of stream. So this bit here where they talk about jump scares and how they just annoy you and they startle you. And a lot of horror movies make it very obvious that they're coming up. Is a reflection on my own thoughts. I think most people think that jump scares aren't really scary, that they just kind of startle you and not really a substitute for good horror. Sorry, my mum just texted me saying food's ready. Ain't got time to eat, bro. Got a stream to do. Yeah, that also extends to video games. That's why DDLC was a fantastic horror game, because the horror was very subtle and psychological rather than spooky jump scare from Freddy Fazbear. That rhymed. But yeah. Blah blah blah. That was just done that day. Oh, your name's Mr. Fredbear? That wasn't a personal attack on you, I promise. Alright, so this is the day of therapy. Fun fact, there actually were going to be actual therapy scenes in this mod, with a new sprite for the therapist, but we decided against it because I felt that wasn't really necessary. There are certain things that I learned when I was writing this mod that kind of contributed unnecessarily, and I thought we can have the therapy happen off stage and just discuss it. There's no need to have in-depth sessions because that's kind of boring. Like, unless people really will want to get like an insight into what therapy's like. But I think the amount of people like that compared to people that don't care would be definitely disproportionate, so cut it. But I remember having to do a lot of research for what therapy is like when I was writing this, because I really wanted to make sure it was accurate. Yeah, it would come across as preachy, and I didn't want that. He raised a very valid point. So we decided to cut it and have it off camera instead, and I think that is the much better choice. Yeah, MC asking Yuri to hang out with him does show that he's dense, but he's doing it for the right reason. It's because he wants to include Yuri. It's not because he's trying to hurt Sayori. So naive, dense, but his heart's in the right place, that kind of thing. And this is just a normal hangout day where they just play games. He's too nice, exactly. That's one of his problems. His flaws. So video games being a good escape from reality, I think we can all agree with that, whether we have depression or not. But I have a couple of friends who I remember when they're feeling really down, I'd say, hey, do you want to play a couple of games of X, Y, and Z for like an hour or two to take your mind off it? And they were like, yeah. And it's like, you're not a therapist, you're not a doctor, you can't do anything in a medical capacity, but just being able to take their mind off it and escape to a nice other world for an hour or two is a really good thing to do, and that's why I put it in the mod here. So the games that we could have chosen, there were so many games that I could imagine Sayori playing. Animal Crossing is one of them. I think she could really enjoy, it's a nice cutesy chill game. Banjo-Kazooie, obviously, well, I'm a huge Banjo fan, that's part of the reason why I put it in there, but I feel like that's another game she'd really enjoy. Just kind of like cute games with like, cute characters. It sounds quite Natsuki-like, but I think the two do share a lot of similarities. It would have been funny to make her play like Doom, or like Mortal Kombat as a contrast. But yeah, I think that she'd really enjoy those kind of nice, colourful, cheery games you can get immersed in. And that's part of the reason why I chose Banjo. Banjo is also one of my favourite games of all time, which had something to do with it. But yeah. Yeah, Animal Crossing, I could definitely see Sayori playing that. Like, in terms of video games that the Dokis would play, I could see Sayori playing Banjo, Spyro, I can see Spyro, Banjo, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot. Maybe not Crash, but those kind of like games that have like animal protags and it's cute. See it, Kirby, Natsuki, I could imagine similar. Maybe games like Cooking Mama or something like that. Whereas Yuri, I feel like would be drawn to the story type games. So Yuri on horror games. So fucking, there's all sorts of games. And then Monica's a bit of a wild card. I can imagine Monica as being really competitive, so maybe she would be a Smash Bros player after all. Maybe if Dan Salvato was right. Dead Space would be a good one. The atmosphere in Dead Space is good. I remember hearing the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star song in that game, and that creeped me the fuck out. I didn't like it. But Yuri would probably enjoy it. There's just some scene where the MC kind of expresses how guilty he is for not being for her friend, because during their teenage years they kind of drifted apart. So this is where he kind of expresses how sorry he is, and he kind of thinks that her depression was caused by him drifting apart from her. it just goes to show, you know, he doesn't know about depression, and obviously depression can develop even when someone has everything, basically. So it doesn't need a concrete reason to form. So I really wanted to make that apparent that, you know, there's no real reason why it develops. It can come at any point. It doesn't care about, you know, who you are or what your circumstances are. It will just strike whenever it feels like it. And Sayori just says to him that, you know, don't feel that way because you're the reason why I'm smiling a lot more these days. Got a bounce. Game night. That's cool. Yeah, the VOD's going on YouTube, don't worry. So you'll be able to catch the rest of it. Ciao. But yeah, that kind of recurring guilt about Sayori not being around Sayori. You see that in Yuri's route in a very memorable scene in Yuri's route in Act 3. I'm sure Chris knows what I'm talking about. And also in Natsuki's route, to the point where people were thinking that Sayori was the canon choice. We didn't mean to kind of push Sayori as the canon choice. We just kind of wanted to keep that consistency where he feels guilty intact. We didn't just want to sweep it aside just because he's dating Natsuki or Yuri. So yeah. Yeah, this is all just playful, flirty banter. There's no real need to talk about. Dude, the last song, whenever I heard it, no matter why it was used, I always felt like I fucked something up. The last song? Do you mean the last song that you hear in the bad ending? Or the last song you just heard here? And I think that was my feelings or my confession. I think it's cool. Blah blah blah. Okay. So this choice here, this one doesn't really matter. It doesn't really impact which ending you get, so you can pick whatever. So he offers to stay with him. They get to cuddle together at night. The dream. Pepe hands. So people think, oh, this is a nice, cute scene. You know, they sleep together, non-sexually. That's sweet. And then the next day is, mwahahaha, fuck you. It's a sad day. Well, she has a nightmare. It's playing feelsy music. It's pretty late. All right, Emily, catch you later. The VOD will be on YouTube, so you can catch the rest of it on the Blue Skies channel tomorrow. If I had more time on the mod, do you think we'd change the UI sounds? No, I think the UI sounds are fine as they are. It's not really something we thought about changing. If we had more time on the mod, we would have fixed... I would have fixed some of the dialogue, because there's a lot of repetition with certain things that I'm not going to point out, because then people will start to notice it. There's a lot of things that are repeated that I would change. And I'd also fix some of the spriting, because sometimes the faces are held a little bit too long. And I'd also change the music transitions, because sometimes they're a little bit abrupt. It gets better the later you go in the mod, but those are the biggest things that we change. So this nightmare that she has, where she talks about there was an invisible bubble around her, kind of separating her from everyone else, and there's this shadowy figure that kept talking to her. That was kind of my interpretation of what depression would feel like. The song is really good. I'm going to turn up a little bit. It's called Out of Reach, and Nick did a wonderful job. Anyway, so the kind of feeling that Sayori has, where, you know, the dark shadow, the being unable to talk, was kind of my representation of depression, how I thought it would be. I imagine it's just this kind of debilitating, invisible monster that's just always there, that tells you really horrible things. It basically is a metaphor for the horrible thoughts that she has about herself. and how the voice is telling her that everything she's trying so hard not to believe is real, and it really sets back her self-confidence. I hate this. Why can't I just be normal? I think that "why can't I just be normal" is perhaps one of the most powerful things that she says, because I know people with depression think that there's something wrong with them and they just want to be like who they were before they were depressed. So it was kind of really powerful to explore those feelings of abnormality. I mean, there's not really much else I can say, except I think the scene just kind of speaks for itself. When I was writing this, it was perhaps the hardest hitting moment of Sayori's route, except for the bad ending. The saddest, hardest hitting moment, that was the bad ending. So I really wanted to make sure that the feels were there, but I didn't want to overdo it. And that's when I kind of drew on the experiences that I had talking to people with depression, the kind of thoughts that they would have and the things that they would say to me that have stuck in my mind for years. And it was the perfect thing to put in a mod where someone has depression. And, you know, depression never really goes away, and it just becomes a case of being able to ignore or accept and deal with your thoughts rather than trying to silence them. Because I don't feel like you ever truly get over depression, you just learn to manage it. I could be wrong, so if that sounded a bit presumptuous, I do apologise. That's what I think it's like based on my experience talking with people that have depression. And, you know, her saying, what if I'm always going to be like this? What if my pieces, you can't put them back together? Yeah, Mario Luigi, we're not doing the bad ending on stream, we're doing the good ending first, because that way I want to give people that want to just do that, they can enjoy that, and then the bad ending comes afterwards, so that people are warned that it's going to be a very heavy ending. And the feeling that she's lost something that she'll never get back, no matter how good of a boyfriend the main character is, or no matter how well therapy goes. And when I was doing my research and I was looking at, you know, personal anecdotes of what it's like to have depression, one of the things that really stuck out to me was that people said that they just feel like they've lost something and they're never going to get it back, ever. And that was, to me, that's impossible to imagine, because obviously I don't have depression myself. But I just thought that was a really powerful quote that stuck in my mind, and I thought that's definitely something how I could imagine it being like to have depression. And the constant tiredness as well, not just physically, in the fact that, you know, depression can interfere with sleep cycles, but mentally as well, because you're constantly fighting an uphill battle where, you know, in every waking moment you have, well, maybe not every waking moment, because that's a little bit of rain clouds territory, but you kind of have to deal with this voice telling you the worst things to yourself. You know, everyone's their own critic. When you have depression, it, from what I've heard, it has a very strong stranglehold on you, and it twists your mind to only the negatives in life. It doesn't let you see the positives. And in days where it's really bad, it's dominating. It's really hard. It's impossible to see it from another perspective. You can't take off those glasses. And this whole scene was written to kind of explore and present the ugly nature of what depression is like. I didn't try and sugarcoat anything. I didn't try and, you know, play it down. It was raw. Or at least I wrote it to be like that. And I think the feedback that was received reflects on that. So I'm glad that I handled it well, because this is a very sensitive topic. Well, I mean, the whole mod is really depression, self-harm, and abuse. You know, these are really sensitive topic, so it was really important that we got it right. Yeah, the way the best way depression was ever described was a weight tied to your mind. Yeah, those kind of metaphors, it's all too common, and I can only imagine how difficult it is. It's like your brain is a different person who constantly puts you down. Yeah, basically, it's a voice that you're trying to ignore and trying to rationalize. And it's tiring, and Sayori mentions it. It's an exhaustion that sleep can never fix. And that sleep is an escape from her own mind. What? When she doesn't have nightmares. And she's just tired of it all, And having a scene where she just snaps, she's angry and she breaks down. We got a little bit of it in the base game where she says she has depression, but I still think she was a little bit subdued there. Whereas here, you just see how she's just done with it. She just wants to wake up one day and have hope. So this line here, actual genuine hope, a hope that maybe, just maybe, things might be okay. This is actually the last line of the good ending. She says that the MC gave her hope, a hope that just maybe things might be okay. I know a lot of people have issues with the good ending. They think it's rushed. No, not rushed. It's too abrupt. I have spoken to people about this, and while I personally disagree, I can see where they're coming from. But I just want people to realise that the last line is meant to be a reference to this moment, because it's a very powerful two polar opposites, where she's at her lowest and where she's at her best. So I think people picked up on that. I don't know. But she mentions that therapy is really not going well. Or not that it's not going well, but just that it's difficult. And it's kind of hard to continue with therapy when you have an uphill battle to climb. And again, I've spoken to people as a friend, and when you hear these comments, you feel really hopeless, right? You feel like there's nothing that you can do. You feel like it's the two of you together alone, and there's nothing that you can do for them, and that helplessness is, I think, the worst thing that you can feel. It's not just watching someone you love suffer or a friend suffer. It's knowing that there's nothing you can do, or at least it feels like that in the moment. And it is demoralising, and it's difficult. And the MC saying that he has to try and stay positive, even though seeing her like this is one of the most demoralising things on the planet. It's, in my experience, hearing these things, it's tough. It really hits really hard. You aren't the one suffering from depression, but you feel the weight, and it's difficult to stay positive. Obviously, I'm not saying that to guilt trip anyone that has depression. That's not what I'm saying at all. But just it can be difficult knowing what to say and knowing what to do. And here, where she snaps at him, saying, he says, "I can imagine how hard it is for you." And she says, "Really? How could you possibly know what it's like to feel how I'm feeling?" Some people might think that's out of character for Sayori, to snap at someone trying to help her. But the way I saw it was, when you have depression, you can be in a low mood and you can snap. And I've had a couple of friends that snap very easily for things that aren't invasive or insensitive to say. And it really messes with your mood. And she's annoyed at him. Not because she's not really annoyed at him per se, it's just the fact that, her mind is so under the effects of depression that she feels... I don't know where I'm going with this. Basically, she snaps at him, as you can see. But her just saying that, this is not something that you can fix by saying the right things is extremely important. As much as she wishes that it was. her saying that she's scared and the MC saying that he's scared as well, I think was a good point to end that part of the scene. And then it carries on. And then, he apologises for saying the wrong things. And it's true, he doesn't know what the right things to say and do are. The whole thing is alien to him. And when you hear that his encouragement feels like empty words, it makes you doubt everything. And, she apologises because, Sayori might be depressed, but at the end of the day, she still wants to help people and she doesn't like upsetting them, so of course she's going to apologise. And I think the bit where she hears what he's saying, all the lovely reassuring things, and it makes sense on surface level, it's just internalising it is a whole other story. And the stuff here where she feels like depression is the one that chooses her mood, her reactions for the day. She's not in control. Yeah, this is when Momsey, he spoke to Momsey about his feelings, and he told her that she was depressed, and she gave him some advice. And Momsey told her that, there'll be good days where things will be okay, and there'll be bad days like today. And, the importance of being patient and understanding, blah, blah, blah. And I think that he handled this part quite well, going back to the whole MC is really dumb thing. It kind of annoys me a little bit because everyone is so quick to judge him and say that he's dumb and he says stupid shit and he doesn't think about how jealous Sayori feels. And to an extent, I agree with that, but I never see credit given where it's due. Like this part here, I think he handled this really well. And then bang. If you're dating someone and you're in that honeymoon phase where you're just mad for each other and they say, do we have a future together? Ouch. That is just the last thing that you want to hear. And Sayori doesn't know if they have a future together. She wants them to have a future together, but she doesn't know if that's going to happen. And again, what happens when we leave school? Well, we go to university. All these uncertainties, there's a fear of the unknown, and then there's depression taking that uncertainty and turning it into, it's not going to last. You don't have a future together. And it's just kind of MC trying really hard to kind of rationalise the situation. Yeah, he handles everything about as well as you could expect a former shut-in his first relationship to do. I think some things he does a lot better than average, and other things not so good. Though he's not perfect, but he's not the complete idiot everyone makes him out to be. But yeah, we're actually making really good progress through this. This is like the good ending, bad ending split now. And it's only an hour and 20 minutes. But this is a little nod to kind of what she was doing in therapy, where she has a diary and she's meant to record her happy and sad thoughts, in that he's working with her to challenge the sad thoughts by looking at the thoughts she has and seeing if they're actually supported by evidence, to kind of challenge thinking. I think that's part of cognitive behavioral therapy. I could be wrong, but I remember seeing something like that when I was doing a little bit of research on it. Again, I didn't want to put lots of therapy stuff in there because it sounds very preachy, like Chris said, but I wanted to have just a little bit for those that were interested in that kind of thing to kind of get an idea of what therapy would entail. But she said that she might want to start going therapy alone, which is a big step for her. But the other girls have kind of realised that something's a little bit off because her depressive moods have become more apparent in school. And yes, there are time skips, because otherwise this model would be like 10 hours longer. And people have already complained about how long it is already. So future plans. So this is something that changes depending on which route you're on. In Sayori's route, I think he opts to go into psychology. Yeah, so going to university. And it's the kind of experience with Sayori that kind of opens his eyes to mental health that he realises that he wants to do. Does he actually say psychology now? I don't think he does. No, Sakurai just talks to him about going to university. I am obviously well aware that university is not the only choice after school, but I figure that in Japan they're very they place a lot of importance on education. So I thought that would be something that the MC would like to do. Although that does change in Natsuki's route, his change of career choice. Or his career choice. But yeah, the jealousy with Yuri is still there. Forced smile from Monica, he doesn't push it. They're just talking about their end of year university plans. Blah 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 blah. Yuri wants to do Japanese literature at uni. I think that's kind of a given, really. Anything to do with literature for Yuri is a good fit. Her parents are hounding her to take over the family business. That would have been a big part of Monica's route. Alas, not anymore. So this is where the good and bad ending split occurs at the start of this day. So everything from here on onwards is good ending, and how it was written was that these scenes will change slightly depending on which ending you're on. So here, for example, when Monica says, "Is Sayori okay?" MC is a lot more... what's the word? A lot more unwilling to talk to her. He's a little bit rude to her. Because on the bad ending, therapy isn't going well, and communications between MC and Sayori aren't as great as they used to be. So, if you because the route was written so that if you went back and did bad ending or the good ending, depending on which one you got first, they would complement each other. So, thanks Brownie, I do appreciate it. Oh, I forgot to put a full stop there, or a period, as Americans would say it. Oops. So here MC discusses whether Sayori should talk to the others about her depression, which for me is I would consider that a huge thing for Sayori. That's why that's kept for like near the end of the good ending. Mom C, yeah, he hasn't spoken to her in a while, so she's a little bit snarky with saying, "Oh, how nice of you to remember that you have a mother." My dad has said that to me once when I forgot to call him. Okay, fellas, I'm gonna be honest with you. There is a really big spider in my room right now, and I am. Fuck me. Okay. That is a big spider. Gonna have to pause the stream for just 1 second. Alright, the spider's gone. I've never had. Oh, for fuck's sake! You know the worst part was it wasn't even a spider. It was a fucking daddy long leg, or a crane fly for my American friends, because daddy long leg means something different in the States. But anyway, we're back, and the spider, the daddy long leg is gone. My mum was not happy in having to get rid. No, I had to call my mum to get rid of it. Oh, that's an embarrassing thing to reveal on stream, isn't it? Fuck me. Anyway, we're back. I don't know how long that break was for. I'm gonna close the window because I'm not taking any chances with this. Although, you know, I'm glad that I saw it like in the top left of my room, because like if it was flying around, you would have heard like a Wilhelm scream. I don't think I've ever seen a stream where it gets interrupted by a daddy long leg or a spider. That's... Anyway, right, we're back. Yeah, I think it was a moth. Okay, thanks Chris for making me feel a little bit better. Anyway, I like the fact that you integrated them being Japanese into the story, because in some mods the characters being Japanese is kind of an afterthought. Yeah, there are some things that are still American in this mod. But for the most part, it does retain an element of Japanesism. Anyway, Mom C calling MC to tell him that there's a spider in her room and she needs help. It's a role reversal. Someone points out that it's all thanks to Chris that this wonderful phone and the video call worked. So Crash Punk's in the stream. Everyone say thank you, Crash Punk. Or not, it's your life. But this just kind of solidifies the Mom C Sayori relationship, where Mom C kind of sees Sayori as like a daughter figure, which is kind of sweet. Yeah, blah blah blah. This is just December exams, blah blah blah. A little bit of awkwardness here where Mom C says that MC's meanness came from his dad, which is a bit awkward because obviously Mom C and his dad divorced. Awkward. But yeah. Mom C's coming home soon. Yay. Boop. Oh, so MC's getting to a stage where he doesn't know when to tell her that he loves her, but it's slowly building up. And this is where they have a discussion about what Sayori wants to do after university, or after school. And she wants to go into therapy, which I think would be interesting because a lot of therapists have mental health issues themselves. They'd have like inside perspective on it. But along with, you know, what video games or what music taste they'd be into, what they'd want to do after school is also an interesting point of discussion. I could see Sayori as like a nursery school teacher or a kindergarten teacher. I can imagine Yuri being like a famous writer or something like that. Game night, you missed absolutely nothing. But then Sayori kind of doubts how good she'd be as a therapist. Even though MC says, you know, you're really good at keeping the spirits in the club, but she mentions that there's a big difference between keeping the peace in a club versus being a therapist for people with actual problems. Yeah, I can see Yuri as a librarian. Okay, Valentine's Day. Okay, we are making really good progress. I want to get the good ending done by the next half hour. So Valentine's Day is coming up soon, and the MC doesn't really know what to do with Sayori. Hint, they don't have sex on Valentine's Day. Yeah, he's kind of asking around now for inspiration. Oh yeah, so when Emmy says that her boyfriend was in hospital, heart stuff, very obvious Casper Shoujo reference there. But yeah, not knowing where to take your girlfriend on Valentine's Day. I'm sure that's a struggle that many of us in the visual novel community can relate to. Yeah. So, no, I did die. This is the spider doing the stream. He was like, look, I didn't mean to spook the streamer, so I'll take over. He's got like two legs on, like 4 legs on the keyboard, 1 on the mouse, and then he's like trying to kill a fly with the other 2 legs. Spider plays. This is a very extremely ridiculously subtle reference, but when MC says you're a girl and she says thanks for noticing, this is actually a very I mean extremely subtle reference to Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, because there is a scene in the 4th book where Ron and Harry are looking for girls to take to the ball, and Ron says to Hermione, "You're a girl," and she says, "Thanks for noticing." And do I put it in there? No one has noticed it, but I think Harry Potter fans, like the crazy Harry Potter fans who have like memorized every fucking bit of dialogue, would probably know. But it is very subtle, so I wouldn't blame them for not noticing. Do 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 do. And of course Natsuki is the Valentine's Day is pointless. All that wholesome, cheesy shit, get it away from me. And of course, well, it's funny she says that, because on Valentine's Day in Natsuki's route, she's yeah. Won't spoil it, but it's funny that she says that. So Monica giving MC the idea to go to Amber Beehive. It's really funny watching people do YouTube playthroughs or streaming this, because they're trying to figure out what Amber Beehive is a reference to. It's just a random fucking name that I plucked out of nowhere. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a name. That's it. I think bees are cool. Amber is a colour, and that's where the name came from. That's it. Monica, you're back. Your spine. Goodbye. Never go wrong with the fried squid. Squid reference. Yeah, it's a Splatoon reference, guys. What are our Valentine's plans? Sayori has no idea, because she does not care. Or she's not been thinking about it, at least. Mom, you're back! Yay! The amount of people that want to fuck her is way too goddamn high. I'm one of them. I'm really hoping that my actual mum, who's in the bathroom next to my room, didn't hear that out of context, because that would sound really, really weird. No, I can't blame you at all. I'm trying to think who... when I think I was the first one to write actual Momsy and Sakurai dialogue, so we kind of agreed on their base characteristics before we started writing them. Get your mum to voice MC. Oh, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea. You should probably say no because she's in a bad mood that I had to call her up to kill the daddy long leg. Nah. If she was in a better mood, I would have asked her, but maybe not now. I know my dad would definitely do it if there was like a dad C character. Maybe in the Yuri route, I get him to do Sakurai. No, she's not really a bad ending. No, I can't do that to her. It's mean. But I'm trying to remember who is Momsy's dialogue. There was a character who I can't remember who it is. There's like a really dry humor with guy with dry humor in a book I read. I can't remember who it is, but that was the inspiration for the character. They just catch up and talk about all the shit they've gone up to. Blah, 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 blah. Normally I'd expand on this a little bit more, but it kind of speaks for itself. There's nothing special I can add here. Oh, okay, so this is where we get a little bit of fuck you, Yuri, which is kind of sad because it's not what we were going for. Yuri's trying to get in there, but MC's like, I got homework to do, bro. And he is in a bit of a pickle right now because Sayori didn't say that he could hang out with Yuri and she's not the controlling type, but even though he wouldn't be doing anything wrong by hanging out with Yuri, it would kind of make Sayori's jealousy worse if he did. So, tricky situation to be in, especially when he told Yuri that he would help her with her loneliness. Yes, it is only like that on stream. It's completely fine in the game, don't worry. I've seen other streams where the phone does this. I don't know why it's like that. It's a great mystery. Mom's here, it's Valentine's Day, woo! Amber Beehive. Jazzy. You like jazz? Momsy's saying that it's been such a long time since she's been at home and that she's forgotten what free time feels like. And she says this country and its work ethic, that is obviously a reference to Japan's crazy work culture where they work like 2,000 hour weeks. Okay, it's not quite that crazy, but it is extremely high. Just a little nudges here and there to remind people that this is meant to take place in Japan, even though a lot of this dialogue is American. This bit here where there's a pen and paper in her hands and she's writing a poem, we were meant to actually have her write a poem, but just never happened. So no one commented on it so far, so yeah. But yeah, Sayori's not in the mood to hang out. You know, depression. Sometimes doesn't want to hang out. She wants time to herself. I've had plenty of encounters with my friends. I said, hey, do you want to play some TF2? And they're like, no, I kind of want some time to myself. Okay, cool, no worries. That kind of thing happens a lot. I was thinking that I might stream Left 4 Dead, the new update that comes out on Thursday. PogChamp. Depends if people will be interested in a Blue Skies gaming stream. I haven't really tested the waters for that. I'll have to find out. We'll see. Could do some Among Us as well. Among Us is obviously a wonderful game to stream on Twitch. So Among Us, Jackbox, Left 4 Dead, maybe TF2, I don't know. Just food for thought. We could definitely do more with the Twitch channel. It would just depend if people will be interested in watching it or not. And if people are comfortable being on stream and playing. Because some people are camera shy. Or just shy. You'd watch? Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes when the when the update comes out. Oh, okay. Looks like a lot of people will be interested in it then. Huh. Cool. Bill Overbeck route. Hell yeah, dude. Well, I'm playing Left 4 Dead on Thursday. We're doing the Bill route. But anyway, back to Mom C having a very serious conversation with MC. Yeah, this is just him talking about how difficult the day has been, and she kind of consoles him, saying, "Don't worry, this is what it's like. These days happen." And she kind of reassures him, saying, "Don't worry, you are making a good difference." Yo, I find it weird that I'm logged into Blue Sky's account, but someone else wrote Zoe Best Girl. There is an imposter among us. Nah, Zoe's not Best Girl. Bill is. Come on. Don't be a normie, Doki Doki Blue Skies. Crewmate, there is one imposter among us. And Mom C kind of serves to kind of rationalise things and help the MC see things from a different angle. And kind of helping him realise that, you know, things aren't as bad as the MC thinks. And independence is important, you know, you can't always be there for your partner. And at the end of the day, their path to dealing with depression is their own. You can help them, but how come Mom C doesn't have cold weather support like the Dokis? Good question. It's because she never goes outside. Or she's never seen going outside, so there was no need to do it. And it's warm inside their house, so let's go with that. And not just because that would require a new sprite. And shit takes a lot of effort, yo. That was an example of music change being really abrupt, so I would have preferred to fade that out better if we had time to go back to the mod and fix things. But, c'est la vie. That's how things go. Oh yeah, this is where the MC talks about how he wants to go into psychology after dealing with, after, you know, experiencing what it's like with depression. So I do like how his career choices change depending on which girl he's with. It's a nice little touch we wanted to add in there. And that's when they go out to the restaurant now, just to see what it's like. I think some people wanted to actually see them go out, but I like to have some things off camera. Just let your mind do the imagination. Just think, how did that conversation go? Yeah, there are a lot of things that changed between conception and actual in-game implementation. Oh, this is when Sayori says that she wants to go alone. It's just standard. If you play as Banjo-Kazooie in the meantime. That should be a capital M for Mom. Mom comes downstairs. Oops. I think I got fixed in 1.5. That's my excuse for everything. No, but the problem is that if we post unused content... Oh, you mean just like the pictures and stuff? Yeah, I guess we could post like early designs of Sakurai and Mom C and Monica's old coat. We could do that, yeah. I think people still care about the mod. So we might be able to. Oh, this is where we get a little bit of... what's the word? Conflict. Yuri wants to hang out with MC, and MC suddenly like, yeah, I can't do that, broski, sorry. Yuri can tell that something's up. And he decides to go for a walk, and he bumps into Yuri. Some people felt like it was a little bit forced. Yes and no. I mean, Yuri does like to go for a walk and stuff. She likes to, you know, come to this place as well. So I don't think it's too unbelievable that she happens to bump into MC here. And the whole situation, in that he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. If there was a Monica route, would she use the trench coat sprite, or would she have a different casual sprite? Monica has both a summer outfit and a winter outfit, so she would use both the trench coat outfit and her summer outfit. You see her summer outfit in the Yuri route in the good ending. It's kind of hot. Oh, hey Yuri, the person that I don't want to bump into right now. And he's kind of fucked up here because he's basically said that, oh, I'm hanging out with Mom, and now he's like, oh yeah, I'm by myself. Oops. Emergency meeting has been called. MC is the imposter. Yuri has voted. Purple voted. I don't know what colour MC would be. Yellow? Because of the whole yellow eyes thing. But the whole thing about it's complicated and I can't tell you. Frustrating, but it's true. You can't tell Yuri that she has depression. Yuri has depression. MC has depression. Yeah, she did. And what's funny about that jacket was that that sprite was made before I played Danganronpa. And I had no idea what the hell it was meant to be. And there's like these weird red squares on the jacket. And I thought it was like a bug or something. And then I realised, oh, the character that wears that jacket 1 year later when I played the game. It all makes sense. And then by that point, we got rid of the coat entirely. Which is a shame. Alas. Anyway, Sayori's here, and then she's like, yo, should I tell the girls about my depression? And MC's like, yeah, that's a good idea. But before I go on to that, I just want to point out very quickly that the whole therapy and progress thing, in that the antidepressants they don't fix her depression or get rid of it. They just help her see things a little bit more clearly. And that's the kind of healthier state of mind that she wants to be in when she wants to make this decision. And it's both the mixture of her therapist helping her to challenge her thoughts and the antidepressants together. That's the biggest difference for her. Because treatment for depression tends to work best when it's antidepressants and talking therapy rather than only one. And MC's just really proud of her because, you know, she's come such a long way. You know, from going from hiding her depression to telling MC about it to agreeing to do therapy and then going to it alone, which is that's a lot of progress. But she is worried about telling people at the club because she doesn't want them to treat her differently. But MC says that won't happen, don't worry about it. And then they have a nice little hug because they haven't seen each other in like 6 years. I think it's nice to kind of have that, Momsy Sayori connection vibe going off again. But yeah, I'm skipping a little bit more than usual because I don't want the stream to go on too late. And she decides to tell them about depression, which is a big thing for her. She kind of thinks about the time he spent with the girls over the year and how they've been there for her. She thinks, yeah, I'll tell them. Although Yuri has been absent. Dun dun dun. So Momsy makes food for Sayori, and Natsuki sarcastically asks, "Where's my food?" And MC says, "You're the chef, Natsuki. Do you really need food?" It's funny because she's... yeah. Second best, Chef Natsuki. Second best. Yuri going to the bathroom? For those of you that have played Yuri's Room, you know why that's a fucking alarm bells ringing. You're pregnant. I don't know why I can imagine Natsuki making those kind of jokes. Don't worry, Sayori, that'll happen later, at the end of the route. Yep. I know what I was doing. Still no sign of Yuri. That is one very long poo. Sorry. Oh, I'm so mature. Come on. Alright. Let's finish this route. Okay. So I've spoken to other modders about the use of memes and references in DDLC mods. Obviously, I know that there are some references in Blue Skies that are a little bit too on the nose. Like, for example, on Halloween, where there's like loads of references. There are some memes in mods that I've seen that take away from the experience because they try very hard to be funny. Loads of pop culture references in mods like Relapse, Fallen Angel, Encore. Not that I'm calling these mods bad or anything, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just that when you put in silly references that seem very shoehorned, it does take away from the experience. The reason why I mention that is because I feel as though subtlety is the way to do references. So for example, when MC says that he doesn't want to talk about this big secret because Sayori needs to be here, Natsuki says, alright then, keep your secrets. You know, it's something that you could say in everyday conversation that wouldn't sound really out there, and it would also work as a meme. I know it sounds like I'm sucking my own dick again, but to me, that's kind of the medium where you want to put your references. Not too out there, and not so ridiculously subtle like the fucking Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire reference that nobody would get it. You want to keep it believable, you know? Had a superhero reference that made me cringe. What was it? I haven't played Longer Roads. Boom, boom, ba-do-do-do. Blah blah blah. Sayori couldn't find her in the girls' toilets. Thinking emoji, where could she be? Hint, it's definitely not the rooftop. Music faded out perfectly. Yeah. Also, look at Monica's face when Sayori confesses that she has depression. Yeah, it looks really dumb. I love it. It's so silly. Monica, for no reason, says something about the Winter Soldier from Captain America. But I haven't seen Captain America Winter Soldier, so I can't comment. Nah, Chris, it's good that you kept it like this because it's so bad it's good. It's big brain. And the two girls are just like, huh? What? Where did this come from? I think it's a nice little scene because it just shows that, you know, the club room, like, obviously the biggest focus is on Sayori and her relationship with the MC, but the club is still there and the club still grows, and that's something that I wanted to keep in the mod. There's Yuri. And her hands dart to her left arm. thinking emoji. I have depression. Monika's poggers. Dude, if that was base game Monika, she'd be saying poggers because she's found an easy way to get rid of Sayori. I don't know what Blue Skies' excuse is though. And Yuri's not really happy to see him. Sayori's like, what the fuck? What's going on, bro? And so Yuri knows that Sayori's depressed. You know, she kind of figured it out, although she didn't say anything. And I think that if there's one girl who'd be able to figure it out, it would probably be Yuri. She's very smart and very perceptive. Because, you know, she has a really big brain. And this whole conflict gets resolved here. And that, you know, he does kind of feel bad about bringing it up because he feels like no matter how he mentions it, Sayori's going to feel like she kind of stopped him from hanging out with her. But it wasn't MC that hugs her, it's Yuri. It just goes to show that they're really good friends and, you know, they managed to get through this little conflict, which I think was really sweet. It is nice writing scenes with these two, because I think the Yuri-Sayori relationship is very interesting. Everyone's happy, yay! And then afterwards, Sayori's like, please just let me know if this happens again. It's really important that we communicate. And that's just the kind of, not fights, but kind of hurdles that couples overcome together. And then Mom sees like, yeah, I gotta go soon, sorry bro. And then Sayori pulls a face that's kind of scary. Oh man, there are some interesting faces in this mod. This is the second last day, I think. It's also quite long, so I'm going to try and get through it as quickly as I can. Alright, so here, Sayori makes MC breakfast. And it just kind of shows that she's really trying to show MC how much he means to her. And she's made a big effort to wake up early to cook him food, which I think is really, really sweet. Because, you know, she does a bit of thinking and realises that she doesn't do it enough, showing how much she loves him, really. So, blah, he really appreciates it, he eats it. And then this is where they have a little moment where she's trying to... So, MC steals the last donut and she tries to get it away from him, distracting him with a kiss, and then... Yeah. And this is where most people thought, oh, they ain't going to have sex. But, nah, he gets cock-blocked by a doorbell. Good decision having Yuri be the side plot character. Yeah, you don't get a lot of Sayori-Yuri interaction. Trying to add interactions that aren't as common. For example, you have loads of Yuri Natsuki, and you have a lot of conflict between Natsuki and Monika. But Yuri Sayori, not so much. And oh, Sayori uses her tongue. Whew. Damn, Sayori, slow down. She moans. That face. Yeah, when you see that face, even the MC knows what she wants to do. Ah, fuck you, says the doorbell. But yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Don't worry, oh wait, actually that reminds me. Sense of Nudity, that one needs to be on. Because we're not having a repeat of last time. That would be not poggers. Okay, so I'm trying to skip through this while not disregarding the kind of impact of this whole scene at the picnic. So this is kind of a nice climax. Well, it's not the climax because that happens tomorrow. Where they kind of all talk about their time at the club. So it's a nice little wholesome wind down for the year's events. Yuri asks if Sayori is bad with food, and she gets caught with her hand. She gets literally caught red-handed. Trying to say it's a spider. Nailed it, Sayori. Amazing defense. It would get this channel banned. Yeah, I think even showing the sprites, the uncensored sprites, would get you in trouble. You can put it on YouTube. There's a guy who did the H scenes, and you can put them uncensored on YouTube, but you have to mark it as age restricted. If you do that, you'll be fine. But this is not YouTube, this is Twitch, which has absolutely no leniency at all. So, just play the mod for the uncensored version. I'm telling you, it's really good. Especially with Yuri. Watching porn on YouTube. Big brain. So here they're talking about the festival, which feels like a long time ago, Jesus Christ. Both when it was written and in the mod, because it happened in Act 1, which was a long time ago. Kind of talking about how they knew that the atmosphere that was ruined from the festival, they managed to put it behind them and grow as a club. It's not as good with Yuri at all. The thing is, I'm a writer, so I could easily rewrite that scene to make it good, if you know what I mean. I'll do that in my head, so I don't feel guilty. Anyway, back to Sayori's route, not Yuri's. Oh, they've all had something to drink. This bit here, because Yuri brought wine and they're actually trying it. And Natsuki says, "Oh, you guys are being so sentimental. How much have you had to drink? Alcohol can make you really emotional, amongst other things." That's obviously a reference to her dad. Okay, so this bit here. A nice, cozy, calm silence. It's nice to just sit back and relax with everyone after a nice afternoon. I mean, alcohol... I know alcohol gets a bad rep, but if you have a little bit of moderation, it can be really nice, like the atmosphere that it promotes. I do like how they all look like they are not enjoying it though. A little bit surprised at how well Monika takes alcohol. That was meant to be a reference in that she uses it as a crutch to kind of escape the pressures in her route. That sadly never got expanded upon because Monika wrote. So she asks if Monika's going to run the club next year. She says that she'd like to, but you know it's going to be really difficult for her. So she says a promotion may be in order, which I think shows how much Sayori's grown, which is really sweet. If there's one thing that I wanted to add though to this to this scene, is perhaps maybe a little bit more from the other girls asking her about like what depression is like and like what they could do to kind of make things better for her. There's a little bit of disconnect in that like she mentions that she has depression and then they talk about it there, and then the next day it's kind of not talked about much. It's not completely ignored because the MC does talk about wanting to go into psychology because of Sayori's depression. So it's not ignored or anything, it's just I would have liked to add maybe a little bit more in hindsight if I could go back and change it. But I think it is really sweet that Monika says, look, if I'm too busy next year, you can run the club. You're definitely good enough. Give yourself some credit, Sayori. I think we can all relate to that. Not giving ourselves enough credit. Classic, will we all be friends after school? After we finish high school? No one knows what the future holds. And it is kind of sweet to think that, you know, they will all stay in contact and still be friends. Just goes to show how far the club has come and how, you know, what initially was just a place for people to hang out has grown into an actual place for an actual proper friendship circle with friendships built to last. That's the kind of vibe that I was trying to go for here. And then Monica points out that both Natsuki and Yuri actually have some big similarities. So, for example, both Natsuki and Yuri think that the club is somewhere where they can be themselves, free from judgment. And, you know, that's true. You know, Natsuki with her manga and her baking, and Yuri with her interest in horror. They've both found a place where they can be themselves and be accepted, which is a big thing. Well, I didn't want to make them like best friends after that, but just to show that, you know, they're more alike than they first thought. You can't predict the future. You can't tell what things will be like in 2 years' time. But I like to think they'll still be friends, and you know, it's easy to stay in contact nowadays. And that if people are destined to be friends, life will find a way no matter what. Find a way no matter what. So that's a nice positive way to think about it. You better not forget to visit me, because, you know, Nat's a first year. It is nice to think that, you know, even though she's alone by herself, the others still come visit her. I think that concept gets explored in one of her endings in Natsuki's room. They're all saying, thanks, Monica. Thank you for being a wonderful club president. Which I thought was a nice, really sweet way to end the day. Just being appreciated, you know. That's a feels good moment. You know, Monica talks about how it hasn't been easy, but she's very glad that she did it in the end. It's all been worth it. Let's share a toast. Another year. There was meant to be a CG here, or there was discussion about adding a CG here, but we decided against it in the end. I think it was going to be a very simple CG of just like the four girls and the MC like raising their hand with a wine glass. It would have been nice, but I think it's just one of those things that got brushed off to the wayside when it came to getting them all out on time. Alright, this is the last day. Okay, we're going to try and get this done. Might be able to get the good banning done as well. It's 2 and a bit hours. Yeah, I might as well get it all done in one stream. There's no point doing another stream for the bad ending. Okay. So this bit here, just a little bit of context. Sayori asks if we're doing anything tomorrow, and we say we're not. So she says, cool, let's hang out tomorrow, and can you pick me up from my house at 4 PM? And that's basically what they're doing. I'm trying to just speed things up a little bit, because these kind of scenes I don't really need to talk too much about. Oh, this is a Steins Gate reference. So they're watching anime, and time travel plotlines, really perplexing, difficult to write well. Redhead girl being a bit like Natsuki. I'm sure you Steins Gate fans know who that is. Tsunderes. Dime a dozen. I'm just kidding, they're not. She's a well-written tsundere. But yeah, this is just basically them preparing for a date. Sayori says, wear something nice. So I'm going to somewhere fancy. So this sprite, there were quite a few designs that we were throwing around. I think there was one dress we wanted to put in blue. We were going to change the bow to blue as well, but we decided if it's too blue, I think it'll be a bit too much. Whereas now we've got a nice contrast between having her blue eyes with the red bow. So we went with that in the end. But yeah, damn Sayori, we can kind of fire. So we're going to Amber Beehive now. So this track, I think there are plans to add this kind of scene in another route as well. Yuri's route, I think. It would have been nice to take her out to somewhere fancy and get like a nice dress sprite for Yuri. But again, going back to the whole thing about variety in the routes, obviously Sayori has this. Natsuki isn't so much a fan of like big grand gestures, so that's why Natsuki's route is a little bit less on the romance and like, the big romantic gestures. Yuri has that really nice day out to the amusement park, so I think it's okay to keep it the way it is. One of them goes to a jazzy date, one of them goes to an amusement park, one of them kind of just monks out at home. I think that's fine the way it is. But it would have been nice, perhaps. So the reason why Sayori takes him here is because she feels really bad that on Valentine's Day she was like, yo, I don't feel like hanging out. So she wants to make it up to him. But the MC was basically saying, you don't have to make anything up to me, Sayori, it's fine. But she's insistent, saying, no, I did. Like, you know, you really wanted to hang out with me, and I wasn't up for it. But MC is a nice, understanding guy. He says, there was a reason for it. I don't want to force anything, so it's fine. Exactly. Forcing a day together just because it's Valentine's Day is a pretty bad idea. But it is very sweet that Sayori decided to treat the MC, because it shows that she really, you know, she's very thoughtful when she wants to be, and she refuses to be, you know, controlled by her depression, which is very, very good. The amusement park with Yuri is probably my favourite part of the mod. It's what comes after the amusement park, if you ask me. That's my favourite part, if you know what I mean. But no, the amusement park was really fun. I can't remember who wrote it. I think it was a mixture of me and Britt. I can't remember, it's been so long. I know she definitely wrote the H scene, but I added some details to spice it up. And now, Sayori's been thinking about the future. So now she goes from, do we have a future on one of our worst days, to, let's talk about our future together. A little bit early, but, you know, pretty normal. Couples do that a lot. Newborn dog. Listen, bro. Where is it? Look at that screenshot there. Can you blame me? It's funny. Anyway. But I think this would be nice to kind of show how far they've come. And it's nice to kind of, you know, the little things are important in a relationship, but it is nice to kind of go all out for your partner every once in a while, you know. And this just kind of shows how insightful Sayori is, where she talks about how the best relationships form when people are best friends before they start dating. And she says, yeah, that's because, you know, they know each other, they know what their values are, they have fights and they make up, and each person knows how to handle the other person when they fight. So Sayori is, I feel as though she's very emotionally intelligent. She kind of thinks about these things. You know, nothing's rushed. Give them plenty of time for their feelings to grow, which is, you know, the foundation for a healthy relationship. The part where she forgot her gloves and got the MC to hold her hands. Crafty. No one expects it. And it is that kind of mischievous, playful side to Sayori is really endearing. And I can see why the MC would like that so much. And the fact that she eats her food normally rather than just eating it like instantly or struggling to eat at all. Again, one of the symptoms of depression being it affects your appetite, but now that things are going a lot better for her, she's a lot more consistent. Yeah, very Sayori thing to do. It was very fun to come up with. She's making me want cake now. I need to eat dinner. Fuck. It's alright. I'll do it for anime girls. It's no simp September. Am I simping if I'm just explaining my thought process behind a route that I made? Huh. Food for thought. Okay, we're almost at the end of the route now. This background was created by Serki, one of our artists, and it is one of my favourite backgrounds in the entire mod. It just looks beautiful. Nighttime is my favourite time of the day. I hate mornings. I'm not a morning person at all, as I'm sure Chris can testify. So just seeing the stars and seeing the moonlight like that in the city, seeing all the lights, is one of my favourite parts of nighttime. And the fact that Serki managed to capture that essence is just beautiful. Coupled with the music, this is a really nice track. This is Sparks Ignite, which is a very emotional track. And when you hear this track, you know that there's going to be a very emotional moment. Or an emotional romantic moment. Funnily enough, never plays on Natsuki's route, which I think is quite funny. And this is the typical romantic Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare shite. Yeah, we could have made those sprites in Salvation. We do have night sprites. We didn't use them here because I didn't feel like it was appropriate, because it's nighttime but there's lights. We couldn't be asked making new sprites because there's so many different sprites we have in this mod. We have like the Halloween stuff, the casual stuff, the winter stuff, the sexy stuff, the kid Sayori stuff. It's just like coding all this stuff. It's just such a pain in the ass. But alas. And it's like a really sweet part where they just talk about how much they mean to each other, and MC really talks about how she's helped him. Because a lot of this mod so far has been Sayori talking about how the MC has helped her, but this is him saying how much you've helped me, and it's just a kind of mutual benefit between the two. And now he's finally at the moment where he says, I love you, and that's a really big thing for Sayori. I wanted to keep the confession for a very salient moment like this, and that's why I kept it right at the end. You'll notice in the other two routes that the I love you thing is said a lot earlier. I just felt like with Sayori that's a very big thing for her. So yeah. And you know, it's a bit stereotypical, but they do it, you know, under the stars and all that, and it's nice and romantic and cliche, but sometimes it's nice to go with a cliche, you know. Yeah, a lot of parallels in this. I made sure to kind of have the parallels and the motifs there, because I love it. Like Undertale, like musically, when games have a motif and they're clever with them, I absolutely adore that. DDLC does it as well, but I love it when games do that, so I wanted to extend it to writing as well. It's something that I really value in media that I consume. And this bit here where she's saying, I was so scared that it would feel wrong, or that it wouldn't match my expectations, is a reference to how in the base game, you know, she says, this feels wrong, or this doesn't feel right. And I wanted it to subvert that, because now it actually does feel right. She calls him what does she call him? An ember? Yeah, that tiny little ember in that rain cloud. No matter how hard it rained, it can never put him out. Metaphors. My English teacher would be so... Would he be proud of me or weirded out? Both. If you're watching, Mr. Iverson, you taught me well, bro. You're the real GOAT. Okay, so... Okay, I need to make sure this is on. So she was scared to fall in love, you know. And then she realises that it's okay to take that chance. And her unhappiness is something she shouldn't hate. And the bit here where it says things aren't entirely perfect, I wanted to add that in to make it apparent that things aren't perfect. Like, she still has depression, she's still, you know, struggling through it. It's just, she's not beaten it. It's a work in progress, but she's just at a good point at the moment, because I didn't want to make the ending too perfect. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to read the H scene because that is very awkward, even though I wrote it. What I will do is I will just generally talk about if people how to write H scenes, because that's something that I've been asked. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into like explicit detail or anything, because I just want to have something to talk about while this scene plays through. Get my mum to read it. Fucking don't worry. There's nothing. You don't see anything. Like the worst you see is like Sayori in her underwear. That's it. And it was really important to kind of capture that awkward. Stop saying gross. This is a big part of the mod, guys. Fuck you. It's you know, I know that people say yay titties, but to me and to us, these scenes were a lot more than just, you know, boobs. Because there is a kind of intimacy and a kind of vulnerability that you get from these scenes that you can't have in any other scene. And I think if you just implied it or like made it fade to black, the impact wouldn't be there. So, oh, fucking tired. My Miyuki. Oh, I fucking hate that game so much. Oh, why did you mention it? Whoa, who's spamming? 11 messages were deleted by moderator. 11? Wow, that's a lot of messages. But yeah, so this scene, you know, it's kind of tricky to write. You have to strike that balance of like awkward, but also heartfelt and intimate, and writing it while making the dialogue not sound cringy. And if you describe certain bits of the human body in a weird way, it takes you out of the experience. So you have to be careful with your tone and how you write things. Alright, so this is the most explicit it gets. You don't see anything worse than that. So for any kids, close your eyes. One thing that I did when I wrote this scene was Katawa Shoujo is obviously a big inspiration for Blue Skies, and I looked at the H scenes in that for inspiration. I think I looked at Lily's H scene because she has quite a few, which is good because she's hot. To kind of give me an idea of the kind of tone and how to write them, and it was very, very helpful. So it was legit the first time I'd gone on P-Hub to look at H scenes for inspiration. I shit you not, that is actually what happened. But yeah, this is just like a very awkward scene, and I think Yuri's is more awkward. This one is more loving. Yuri's is more awkward for reasons that will make sense if you play by route. But yeah, it's interesting writing H scenes because they are very, very different to other kind of scenes. And I think the only other H scene that in a mod is Outcast, which is a Yuri mod. And I watched a YouTuber play through Blue Skies recently, and he said that the Blue Skies ones have a lot more detail, which isn't necessarily a better thing, but these are just much more like Katawa Shoujos that have a lot of detail. Again, I'm not going to read these because no. But it's difficult to write these because you have to get the tone right, and you can't. Yeah, you have to be careful with the words that you use because it can make or break these scenes. This is where the actual H scenes come in. Whenever I see people actually like read this out loud, I do cringe. Just because, I don't know, like, if you're an author and you write this stuff and you hear someone read it out, it feels weird. Like, I don't think I did an awful job. I don't think this is like a cringy scene by any means. It's just weird hearing people, you know, read sex. What was it like writing it? It was actually, I mean, once you kind of get into it and you start writing it, it's actually not too difficult. I enjoyed it, even though it was difficult, because it was a challenge, it was something new. And there aren't really many H scenes in DDLC mods, so I kind of wanted this to be like a shine out, or like an example of how to do it, because there's not many that already exist. So I wanted to be the first to write a full-on H scene, along with Yuri, for Yuri's route, so that was fun. Tricky, but once you get into the swing of things, I found that it came naturally once I looked at Lily's H scene for inspiration, because the way it's written is just so well done, and it doesn't feel like blind fan service. So that was the kind of thing that we were taking in. You cringe reading it? It's fair enough. It's cringe reading it now. But yeah, this ending. What did I miss? Just sex. But this, I wanted to end the scene with an H scene, or the route with an H scene, because I feel like that post-climax scene is where you have like an opportunity for a really intimate moment. And this is why, you know, MC's saying he's really proud of her, she's come such a long way, which is not a pun, I promise, is put here. And then she replies by saying that, you know, she loves him, she's the best boyfriend a girl could ask for, and that he's given her something. No, not an STD, but hope. Hope. Actual, genuine hope that maybe, just maybe, things might be okay. I know that some people, a lot of people actually, had issues with that ending. They thought it was a bit too abrupt. I've already given my thoughts about that, so I won't go into it. But I feel like after that, I don't know where you could go. Because you've already had the scene with the rest of the club that has this, you know, really nice climax with the club members. And then you have a really intimate scene with Sayori herself. And I think that's the best place to end it. So that's why I was very surprised when people were saying the ending was abrupt. Because none of the playtesters said it was abrupt. But, you know, that's the beauty of art. We all interpret it differently. Can I skip? I won't skip this. But this was something that Britt came up with. Curie. This is inspired by an anime. I don't know which one it is, because I'm not a weeb. But I really like how it turned out. I love the day-night cycle in the background. And also the fact that Monica is somehow super glued to Natsuki's foot, or Yuri's foot. Oh hey Britt, didn't know you were here. Yeah, playtesters, there are a couple of things that they could have done a little bit better, but yeah, it's cool. Britt, which anime is this thing a reference to? Because I don't know what it is. Oh, also the Sakurai Mom C thing, that's just us. Because people were like, oh, Sakurai x Mom C, wouldn't that be funny? And then Britt drew them in that way to add fuel to that fire. There are a lot of people who comment on that, so it's cool. They are very nice. You can thank Curie for that. Her wonderful idea. It did turn out very nice. It's canon, or is it? Who knows? Yeah. Nice little drawing as well. Yeah, they're staying with us for the ride, because it took 28 months. Which is crazy. That's a long development time for a mod. Okay, so very quickly, we're going to go through the banning now. Obvious warning, you know, it's very heavy. It doesn't shy away from showing the harsh reality of depression and suicide. So if you're not comfortable with that, this is your chance to leave. Okay, let's get this done. Where is it? No, that's not Natsuki's route. Whoops. Hang on. Okay. I can't find it. Is it here? No. We need to go and specifically pick the bad ending. I think it's here. Yeah, it's here. Okay. So let's just skip to the choices and then choose the bad endings. Bad ending. Shouldn't take too long. Yeah, people have said that it's not just a mod, it's a game, which, you know, it's a nice thing to say, because it makes us feel like all the time that we spent, and believe me, there was a lot of time spent making this mod, it was all worth it. Okay, so now we're gonna make her go to therapy herself. I'm gonna skip the slightly different scenes and just skip to where the bad ending starts, because otherwise we'll be here for ages. It's not too different, to be honest. Okay. Right, there's a certain part. Where the dialogue changes. I don't want to skip it because I don't want to miss the bad ending stuff. Okay, here. So this doesn't pop up in the good ending. She says, I really don't want to carry on with therapy. And Satoshi, you know, it's a reference to fucking, you know, Pokemon. Ash, his Japanese name is Satoshi. Or Corpse Party. Actually, you know what? Let's go with Corpse Party, because I enjoyed that game. It's the fact that MC hasn't joined her at therapy makes a big difference, because it's said in the good ending that, you know, while his questions, he's not a bad therapist or anything, he's a really good one, it's just by virtue of commenting and asking her all about her depression, it's difficult for her, because she has to think about her feelings when it all started, and it triggers some really bad memories. That's why she wants the MC to join her at the start, just so that she has enough confidence to start going by herself. Now that he's not joining her, that kind of confidence to go isn't there, and that means that eventually she stops going, and that's a big problem. You know, she says that she tried it a few days ago and it was terrifying, and it's just a constant reminder of last time when treatment got her absolutely nowhere. And she doesn't blame him, you know, because he wants her to get better, but that's someone else that worries her. Yo, what's up, Daikaju? How you doing? We're almost done with the stream, don't worry. We should be done before 3 hours is up. But yeah, now that the MC is with her, it's kind of another expectation from someone that means a lot to her, and she hates to disappoint them and let them down. But yeah, if you choose I could come with you, good ending, but we have to be a little bit of a dick to her, so. You can kind of see where he's like nudging her, and I think people tell that this is the wrong choice. This feeling that things, not knowing what he's doing, get stronger. So that day doesn't end on a positive note. obviously the day doesn't end on a positive note in the good ending version, but it's a little bit less bleak. So this time, instead of saying that, you know, she's on antidepressants and things are getting better, now he's saying that not much has changed. Oh yeah, dev commentary. This is the last session for Sayori's route, by the way. We're going to get the whole thing done by the end of the stream. There'll be news about the other two routes at the end of the stream, don't worry. Yeah, this pretty much stays the same. Yeah, they have that conversation about what to do in the future. Again, that doesn't change. Yeah, so this is different. Okay, so now Monica asks if Sayori's okay, and MC just lies and says that she'll be fine, and he mentions just like that. Is that what it's like to be like Sayori? Or to be Sayori, to put on a front and pretend that everything's okay? And then Monica says, let me know if we can help out in any other way, and he's like, we? Because he doesn't realise that obviously that means that other club members, of course, like, duh. And the music stays the same as well. It doesn't change to Cinnamon. It stays. I don't know what track this is. Is this Is it pensive? I don't know, but it's one of the sad tracks. But yeah, Sayori's just not attentive at all. The bad Sayori ending is your favourite? Okay, fair enough. Is this a festival track? Oh, fucking hell, it is. That's embarrassing. Oh yeah, but here, so when MC says, have you thought about telling them about your depression? Notice how her reaction is a lot more assertive. Her face is a lot angrier. She says no. Whereas before she was like, nah. Now she's like, no. You can tell she's getting angry with him. Shouldn't you know this by now? It was hard enough telling you. If I tell 3 more people, that's 3 more people that have to worry about me. It's not worth it. She just wants to leave it. You can tell straight away that things aren't okay. The past few days have been really hard. Doesn't want to talk about it. And she just rejects his offer to do homework around his house. That's when he starts to wonder, is this a good idea to start dating her? And the mom theme is called Family Bonds, but Nick made a sad version specifically called Broken Bonds, which we used for these scenes. I think that works perfectly. But the conversation just is not going well. She can tell that something's up straight away. And it gets to a point where it actually makes him cry a little bit, and he has to mute the phone to hide a sniffle, otherwise Mom would never let him hear the end of it. He tries to put on a brave face and pretend like everything's okay, just like Sayori does. It's not healthy. And, you know, Momsy asks what Sayori wants to do in the future, and then he realises that she never talked about what she wanted to do in the future. And in this ending, you never hear about it. So again, it's like the same scene, different dialogue, different music. There's a little differences that we wanted to put in the mod. Again, Valentine's Day, but notice this time how he responds to Emmy. He's just thinking about what depression is like and how it's making, you know, life so difficult for them. and it's becoming harder and harder for him to cope with her behaviour. And Emmy nudges him and he's just not in the mood to talk to her. He says, "What do you want?" But she's already turned away. Not off to a great start, are we, MC? Time to put on a happy mask. I wonder where I learned that from. Okay, so here, instead of talking to Natsuki about where to take Sayori on Valentine's Day, instead she talks to Yuri about a book that she has, which is fine, but in the context of Sayori and her feelings, yeah, you can see why this is going to take a turn for the worse. Also, the ghost story that she talks about a governess who goes to work at a family country house. It's not very Canadian there. House. Is Turn of the Screw. It's a book that we read in English in high school that I really enjoyed. It's a very good horror book. I think Yuri would like it a lot. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it because, you know. But what is interesting about the book is that there are these ghostly figures that appear, and the writing is so open-ended that you never know if the governess is actually seen, like the ghosts are real, or they're just a figment of her imagination. And a lot of creepy, fucked up stuff happens, so it's very interesting. It's a really well written book. And Sayori's there looking at me and Yuri together, alone. Yeah! But at least the other two walk in, yay! Yeah, I've spoken to that guy on Reddit. Yeah, I've spoken to him. It's really sad. I never expected someone to make an AMV for this, for Blue Skies. That just blows my mind. Also, the fact that the trailer's got 1 million views. We expected like 10,000 views at most, but it got 1 million, which is wild. The DDLC official trailer has like 2.5, so we have like 40% of those views. That's crazy. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. Also, today's Monday, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. Tomorrow's the DDLC stream. Very exciting. But yeah, this is just awkward. She's not talking to him, and she doesn't want to talk to him as well. I just repeated myself. She just she cuts him out, or blocks him out even. And he's trying to directly ask, "Is it Yuri?" You know, trying to reassure we're just friends, but no. He's trying to get through to her, but she's just going through the motion, just letting him hold her hand and talk to her and kiss her, but it's just not working. Again, she does kiss him back, but it doesn't feel the same. A new emotion starts to surface, anger. And a lot of people say, "Oh, MC is a dickhead, he doesn't know how to deal with depression," but like, if your girlfriend is just not talking to you and not communicating, when you feel overwhelmed, it's very easy to feel angry. And he tries to hold himself in check, but it's difficult when it's so demoralizing. And when he goes to talk to her, she does not want to hang out with him at all. Like, she literally says, "What are you doing here?" And it's like, "Dude, I'm your boyfriend and it's Valentine's Day, like, come on." She just shuts him down, cold. And he's trying not to get angry at her, but, you know, there's only so much you can take. She stopped going to therapy. Yeah, that's gonna cause a slight problem. See you later, Chris. Have a good one, bro. Thanks for sticking around. Appreciate it. We've only got like 10 minutes to go anyway, so this should be done soon. I was hoping you'd pick up on it. Pick up on what? She never wanted to go. And, you know, it's the problem of MC saying, "You've just got to keep at it," and Sayori saying, "I want to give up." Neither of them can really see it from the other's perspective. So we're at a stage now where she stopped going to therapy, so it's just Now, again, everyone gives flack to the MC for being an arse, but Sayori says some kind of... she kind of pours fire, or pours gasoline on the fire a little bit. Where she says, why, is Yuri coming to see you later? Like, kind of uncalled for. A bit of a dick move on Sayori's part. And MC rightfully snaps. He says, you know, you're feeling jealous over the fact that I'm spending time with someone who's feeling lonely? I thought you cared. Like, damn. Ouch. That's harsh, Sayori. That's really harsh. It's about to be very sad Momsy hours. Yeah, so the problem is, right, so obviously Sayori's depression is telling her that MC doesn't care because he didn't come to therapy with her. But the MC is like, bruh, what about everything else I've done for you? So they're both in the right and in the wrong here. She thinks that he's just forcing her to go to therapy, but that's obviously not the way MC sees it. And MC... yeah, maybe MC probably shouldn't have snapped here. It's not helping, but, you know, he's only human too, so... Still don't get it. You still don't get it. Hates asking people to do things for her. Drops so many hints, and MC just says, just tell me that you want. And, I mean, I can see where he's coming from, although in Sayori's case it is a little bit different because of depression, but, you know, it is difficult to know sometimes. People just tell you the truth, like, straight up, that would make life a lot easier. The classic, you have no idea what it's like to have depression, but MC is ready to fight back. You have no idea what it's like to give so much to someone only for them to throw it right back into your face. Again, this argument was kind of written so that both of them were kind of in the wrong, but everyone thinks that MC is the arsehole here. And MC's stupid to think that you're the same happy, sweet girl I grew up knowing. Ooh, that is harsh. Ouch. Exactly. MC's not a cute anime girl, so it's all his fault. Just tells his mom to go away. Yeah, I can skip all this basically. This is just MC debating whether to tell Momsy about what's happened, and he feels like he's losing Sayori. Yeah, it just shows that people don't think straight. And there's no simple solution, because depression makes it hard to see things rationally. And our friendship with Yuri is no exception, no matter how innocent we might be. So this time, on the bad ending, instead of going to the park and then bumping into Yuri, he instead goes to a different part of the park where he hangs out with, he met Sayori many years ago. But he is kind of tormented by his own conscience here. He feels guilty in that, you know, he's just arguing with his conscience here, saying, you know, it's not my fault. Guilty conscience? Why didn't you go to therapy with her? He thought she'd find by herself, didn't think she'd need him, or maybe he was scared of what he'd find. You know, these are all perfectly valid reasons why. And he's, you know, MC, we all say things in the heat of the moment, and then when we pause to look back at the things we've said, we kind of realise that we didn't mean them. But alas, the damage has been done. Ah, fuck off, Yuri, I'm not talking to you now. trying to convince himself that she'll still want to be with him. Sayori isn't the type to hold a grudge, so he might be lucky. Yeah, they go to school, blah blah blah. Sayori's not in school. I know people started to suspect that she'd hanged herself by this point. The other girls know that something's up. They tried to help him, but he just shrugs them off. It's kind of harsh that he treats her like that, but it's just the knock-on effects that it has. She's not happy to see him at all. And to be fair, you know, he's come to apologise, and he does mention that it is really harsh to be told that he doesn't... She feels like he doesn't care, so I can see where he's coming from. But fair play on him for apologising, because we all know that pride is a bitch. But at this point it's too late. She's already agreeing with the horrible things that he said to her. Ouch. Too late, MC. Too late. You know, he was the only one that made her believe that things could change, and now she doesn't believe that anymore. I don't think we should be together anymore. You hate to hear it. You really hate to hear it. And it is sad that she feels like she doesn't want to be a burden anymore. Really, when you think about it, all she's doing now is kind of cutting ties with the only person that loved her. I mean, her parents obviously are a thing, but she's basically cutting ties with the last person who loved her so that she can kill herself, like, guilt-free. Which is really fucking sad when you think about it. Well, her parents are there, but like, you know what I mean. It's anime. Parents don't really exist. Except for Momsy. It's probably for the best that Dadsuki doesn't exist, to be honest. But yeah. Sayori's just saying that it wouldn't be fair if you're together because depression doesn't care. And it's true, depression doesn't care if they're together. You know, it's a pretty horrible, apathetic, blunt thing, but just the way it is. You know, he really, really hurt her, and it just goes to show that your words can sometimes have really, really deep psychological scars that you don't intend them to have, but it's too late at that point. He tries to say "I love you" to kind of. I mean, it's partly selfish. I don't think he was saying it for wholly selfish reasons. I just think that, you know, he's just desperate at that point. But she doesn't love him back. No, she wants to say yes, but she can't. I dreamed that we'd say it under the light of the moon. It's a reference to the good ending. Well, they say it under the light of the moon. Oh. Maybe in another life, if things were different. This is how it ends. Oh, MC, you wish it ended on this day. Fun stuff. But she really leaves me no choice. That's one of the lines from the last day of Act 1 of Base DDLC before he finds her body. It was really fun to add those little hints here and there. Yeah, if the mod ended there for series route, that would have been sad, but nah, we're not done. We're not done on the feels train. So this is just MC, like, mechanically on autopilot. Because after you break up with someone, it's just like, you feel numb. And it just feels like, you know, you've lost the world. And that is how it feels, but you get better. Although maybe not in MC's case. Although Yuri's still alive, MC, so you can always go for hard route. Yeah, blah blah blah. And MC's just saying, I wish I could talk to her, not being able to see her is killing me. And then Mom C mentions, oh, maybe I could go and talk to her. I've known her since she was a child. Maybe I would be able to. And I think some people here thought, ooh, there's going to be like a reconciliation scene between Mom C and Sayori. I haven't seen anyone in their playthrough think, oh shit, this is where there's going to be like, Mom C is going to discover the body. I think one person mentioned it. I can't remember. I remember hearing someone being like, oh shit, is Mom C going to be the one to find out? And he was like, no, don't let it be Mom C. And I was like, yes. Bad endings are fun to write. And I think people, it's when the music fades out and you hear the sirens. Here, I watched this guy do a playthrough and his face just dropped and you could hear his heart break the moment you could hear the sirens. And I was just like, oh, feels bad, man. And then as soon as you see this sprite, you just know that like something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. No music. Cutting the music at certain parts is, you can have such an impact with it if you do it right. This is so sad, gamers. Can we get a sad face? Sad faces in the chat, boys. I think it might have been cool to add a little heartbeat sound effect here, where it says that his heart starts beating really fast. I think it's that flat out denial, to just refuse to believe what you're hearing, even when you know deep down it's true. But denial is a very powerful psychological defense mechanism we have. Yeah, she's like, room service. Oh, I'll come back later. No, this is a sad scene. Come on, guys. Yeah, I mean, that is something that technically shouldn't happen. There are a few little details here and there that don't really make sense, like Mom C coming to Sayori's house like that, but don't think about it too much. I did wonder how many people interpreted the whole "you are my last hope" or "this is how it's going to be" as like a death, like a suicide note kind of thing. Or if they just thought, nah, she wouldn't hang herself, would she? Get out of my head, obviously. Best game reference. The rain effect that Chris added really added to the scene. Or like what, any scenes that have rain. I think there's one in Yuri's route that has it. It really helps just kind of drive the impact home. You know, MC's slowly, the disbelief is slowly starting to ebb away and he's thinking, could this actually be happening? I know some people, it's funny how this really happy transition plays. It would have been nice if like we had a glitched version of that. That would have been really cool for like the bad endings, but that would have required a whole new animation, and we asked a different guy, not on the Blue Skies dev team, to make that, so it would have been too much hassle to create it, but it would have been really cool. We could have just not played an animation there. I mean, in hindsight, you probably should just have like a black screen and the next day starts. But then you wouldn't know when the new day has begun, so trade-offs. But yeah, this series is the only bad ending where you have an aftermath to a death. And initially, there was going to be a funeral scene, but a few hours later, it's like Kermit the Frog. Can't do French accent, but yeah, that SpongeBob transition. One day later. Imagine how many complaints we'd get if we did that. But yeah, there was initially going to be a funeral scene, but there were funeral clothes that existed for Yuri and Sayori from the Exit Music mod, but we don't want to use Exit Music assets. And also we'd have to make a new sprite just for Monica, because our Monica faces differently for just one scene, and we thought that's too much effort, so we changed it to be a post-funeral scene to get around that problem. It is kind of sad that we couldn't add a funeral scene, but we are limited by, you know, sprites. And our brave soldier Curie had already made like 1 billion for us. We didn't want to add too many into our workload. The most emotional ending? Yeah, the aftermath. Oh, I think the Yuri bad ending hits really hard because of the POV shift you get at the end. But no spoilers. No more spoilers. And at this point, it's just the MC reflecting on how initially he was in disbelief, but slowly, the realization begins that she is dead and he's never going to see her ever again. And it was really fun. Tragedies are really fun to write. It is really fun to explore sad themes. Because like wholesome happy scenes are nice, but I feel like you can elicit more of a reaction with sad stuff than happy. Maybe that's just me. Interestingly, something else that was taken from Harry Potter. There's a scene in the book, not the movie, although it does happen in the movie as well. The scene where Harry and Hermione go to Godric's Hollow in the 7th book, and Harry goes to see his parents' gravestones. There's a part where he's looking at his parents' gravestones and he's wishing, part of him wishing that he was joining, that he joined them under the dirt. And that I thought was a really, really powerful sentence, because it shows that, well, some people from this ending, they thought that MC was suicidal. He's not suicidal, but I can see why people would think that. The general idea was that in his grief he says some really depressing stuff that might sound suicidal. At the time it might seem like that. But yeah, I just think that the idea that you're at a grave of someone who you used to love and part of you wishes that you were there with them, it's just sad. It's really sad. You know, he wants to be there with her. He doesn't want to be alive anymore. Oh, I said a part of me wishing, not I wish that, because there's a little bit more ambiguity there. Because if it was just I wish I was under with her, I think it's sadder, because a part of him wants to be there, in that there's a conflict where part of him wants to die, but he also wants to stay alive. So it's that kind of struggle between the two states right now. I feel so cold longing for her embrace. Yeah, that's a lyric. I'm sure Nick can tell you which one. But it was really interesting to kind of write this scene, to think about all the memories that he has with Sayori, and how, looking back, he's just torturing himself, thinking about all the happy thoughts, all the happy memories they have with each other. Okay, so this CG was not done by Serki, it wasn't done by Curie, it wasn't done by Black Rabbit, who are our main artists. This was done by Rashi, who think he did... Now Brit's going to kill me if I get this wrong, but I think he did 1 or 2 of the Monica route CGs from the demo. I don't know which one it was. I think it was the rooftop one? Please don't crucify me if I get it wrong. Yeah, 2. He made this CG. Yeah, the rooftop and piano ones, I was right. Yeah, he actually made, I think, the hardest hitting CG. Because I remember when Christmas came around in Act 2, people were saying, oh, I really want to see the picture that Sayori got, the MC. I'm like, are you sure about that? And here it is. Yeah, the fact that it takes place at the fun fair or the theme park or whatever, and there's Mr. Cow, you finally get to see it. But when you do see it, it's a little bit too late. This CG wasn't actually in the route when we first sent it out to playtesters. This was added afterwards because I think he said that he wanted to do a CG, but because we cut Monica's route, he didn't need to do any for that. So I said, do this one if you want. It's a lot simpler than a full-blown CG. And he did it, and yeah, I think it turned out really well. Maybe add a little bit more detail to the hands, but apart from that, pretty solid. And the music. I love the rain playing in the background. Although when Nick first created this track, I think the rain was a little bit too strong. It sounded like a fucking downpour. So we had to experiment with the rain a little bit, but the end result that we got is very nice. I like the raining motif, just because obviously rain clouds in our head, that kind of thing. And it's not just MC being sad, he's also angry and he's bitter. Why did you do it? Why did you do it to me, to us, to everyone? You could also interpret it as the sound of MC's tears. You know, there's rain is a good metaphor for a lot of things. You can interpret it like that as well. And, you know, he's angry, he's saying, you don't have to give up like that. I know I fucked up, I know I do, but why did you do it, you know? I think that's something that when someone commits suicide that you know and love and you don't understand, you say, why did you do it? Well, obviously, if you knew that they were depressed, you understand it, but you still say why. You know, you've left us behind. There's a lot of anger that people think. Obviously, it's not selfish to commit suicide. Although that's kind of veering into a different topic that we're not going to get into now. But essentially, it's just that kind of the impact that it has on people. You know, he's angry. Look at us now. Look what you've done. And we added a few little effects onto the CG. I haven't seen all of that AMV. I've seen like bits of it. I think he included it in the AMV and it was very interesting to see it. And I think while I was thinking of like sad things to write, like the imagery, I think just writing I miss you, I think just that in itself, it's simple, it's 3 words, but it's really powerful. Where can you watch the AMV? If you type in Doki Doki Blue Skies AMV. Okay, I know the whole it's not selfish to kill yourself thing, like, I know that's a big debate, but I'm not going to get into it on stream now, because this is not the time or place for it. And it's also a very sensitive topic, so I don't want to get into an argument now. We'll be uploading the VODs to YouTube on the Blue Skies channel, so it'll probably go up tomorrow. Yeah, so when I was writing this scene, I thought there were two ways it could have gone. It could either have gone like really sad, where all of them are just like mourning, or it could have been like MC choosing to lash out because he's just in so much grief. And I think that would have been the more harder hitting approach. Like, he's not being an asshole for the sake of it. It's because he just lost his girlfriend and it's really making him really, really hurt. And I know some people thought that it was unfair, or no, it was unfair, unreasonable for him to explode at Yuri, that he does now. Like, he explodes at Yuri, saying like, it's thanks for fucking up our relationship because, you know, you clung to the one person who ever gave you a second of their time. People were saying, oh, that's really unfair, that's really harsh, but that's the point. He's not thinking straight at all. You know, he's meant to be horrible because it's just, when you're dealing with such strong emotions, anger, bitterness, sorrow, you know, you don't think straight and you blame, you lash out, and that's just, you know, like, I'm not saying it's right, but in this context, yeah, misery loves company. You feel better for making people feel as shitty as you do. And he explodes at Natsuki as well, saying, you know, what the fuck would you know about what she would want? All you did was make fun of her. Again, not strictly true, because, you know, Natsuki wasn't always a bitch to Sayori. In fact, I don't think she really was. She, like, said things here and there, but she wasn't, like, a bitch to her or anything. Monaco's trying to be reasonable, but you're not really going to get reasonable in this kind of situation. This is kind of MC's conscience again, because her depression, I don't think it's his responsibility, but he certainly had his role to play when he started dating her, and he's just trying to ignore his guilty conscience. And he's just snapping, saying you could have at least tried to be there for her. And I guess he kind of has a point in a way. Like, Yuri suspects that she has depression. She could have at least tried to, like, talk to her. I'm not saying it's Yuri's fault that she committed suicide, I'm not saying that at all, but I think looking back, if you know that someone has depression, you could at least try and reach out to them. But yeah, he is definitely taking a lot of anger out on the girls, especially Yuri. But yeah, as Yuri said, misery loves company, in a twisted sense. Seeing the hurt on Yuri's face makes you feel a tiny bit better. And he's just saying, you know, all I had to do was talk to her. And the thought of Yuri... So, Yuri, it's not her fault that's... saying it's her fault is kind of harsh, because, like, Yuri didn't try to hurt anyone, but, like, obviously Yuri talking to the MC and stuff did make Sayori feel bad, and that makes MC fucking flip. This stuff is harsh. It's very uncalled for, but again, given the situation and MC's current mindset, it's not a surprise that he would say that. And Monica's trying to, you know, just, you know, let that anger go, bro. And he's just like, fuck off. I don't need you, of all people, telling me how to behave. Yeah, he's really harsh to her. And I think, looking back, having him quit the literature club and just completely isolate from everyone else is perhaps the worst outcome you could get, because not only is Sayori gone, but it's going to have such a horrible impact on everyone, and the MC has left the club. Like, everyone loses. If it was like the MC was mourning with the girls and, like, he managed to, you know, find some comfort in, you know, mourning with them, that wouldn't be as bad. But this is the worst possible way it could have ended. I mean, I guess it could be worse if MC killed himself, but we're not going to fucking pull an exit music, because that's dumb. But this is the worst believable outcome, I'd say. And the final words, you know, are the most powerful in any story that you can have. And initially, the last thing that MC said in his head was, you know, I'm sorry, Sayori. I know you wanted us to be happy, but happiness is not something we're gonna know for a while. Looking back, I thought it was kind of cheesy, so I changed it. It's now one of her poems, actually, is the last thing that he says. Echo, 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 inside my head. I think that's the final line of Bottles? Yes, the end of Bottles. So I wanted to kind of have that. It's not a complete, you know, point of view shift, because it is still MC, but that's how it ends. And then you get a nice end, which means you fucked up, lol. But yeah, that's basically the dev stream. That's Sayori's route. Damn, that was a 3 hour and 21 minute stream. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'm not going to make the mistake of clicking on that again. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Regarding the other two girls' routes, I don't know. I think Natsuki is more likely than Yuri. I need a little bit of time to recharge, especially if I do Yuri's, because Yuri's route is fucking long, and there are loads of things to talk about with Yuri's route. It was a 2-man effort after all. So I'd say Sayori's done. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I did speak to Tiffany a couple of weeks ago. He said that he wanted to do an Natsuki dev stream, so if that does happen, he'll be doing it, not me. But he has been very busy with work, so I don't know what the stance is on that. I'll let him know that I'm done with Sayori, and so he can start Natsuki if he wants to. Yuri... Don't know about Yuri. It depends, because obviously Kyuri and I co-wrote it, so... Ideally it would be nice to have her on board as well, but again, it all depends on availability. So yeah, if there's any more questions, I'm around in the Blue Skies Discord. I only really check the feedback channels, so that's a good place to talk to me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll think about, I know at the start of the stream I mentioned if we do like games nights for Blue Skies, you know, games like Among Us, Left 4 Dead, that kind of thing. If people are interested in it, we could definitely do it, because I would like to interact with the community more. Outside of developer commentary, I wasn't really sure how to. But yeah, that's pretty much that. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Natsuki route commentary coming soon, hopefully. Monica route coming never. Yeah, thanks guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in whatever the next thing I do will be. Hopefully Natsuki's route or a game stream, who knows. Ciao!